This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. Today's episode of PTG is brought to you by the one and only Trans Labs that brought the world two amazing products. First off, Transfuse, which is a hydration multiplier, and most recently, they just dropped Transcend, which is a nootropic energy formula. No matter what you use, when you choose Trans Labs, you are going to be boosted and you are going to be ready to charge the paintball field and win out there. With Transfuse, that is a premium rapid hydration multiplier and immunity fortifying formula scientifically designed to replenish you at the cellular level. And they use all natural ingredients in this product. We've got zinc, we've got vitamin B6, we've got vitamin C, sodium, potassium, choline, and it is an amazing way to make sure that you're hydrated and prepared to play top level paintball. When it comes to Transcend, that is a premium nootropic energy formula designed to increase cognitive performance, elevate mood and clarity while supporting long-term brain health, and it's going to leave you feeling great with no crash or jitters. It's one of the only products in the nootropic space backed by research studies to ensure the formula is correct for optimal performance. It is more potent than anything on the market, and it will keep you charged and ready to win out there. I take one scoop, but if you're stimulant sensitive, take a half scoop. And if you want that LFG dose to launch to the moon, dump 2 scoops in your drink and you are going to be flying down that paintball field. Comes in 2 delicious flavors, Baja Blast and Skittles Candy for the Transcend. And for the Transfuse, they have 2 new flavors as well, Pineapple Express and Hawaiian Punched. So if you get a chance, head over to translabs.com. That's TRANZLABS.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME and you'll get 10% off. If you subscribe to a monthly delivery service, you also get 10% off as well. So you can take advantage of 20% off on these products. Head over to translabs.com and give it a go.
What's going on, PTG fam? Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode, we've got an absolute banger for you guys. We have a lot to talk about. Lots been going on. We got to practice New York Extreme and San Diego Aftermath with Dynasty out at Victor Paintball this weekend, and Tyler was out there with Houston Heat, X Factor, and I believe AC Diesel. So lots to talk about there. We also have Mike Hinman on the show and Dalton Vanderbyl. If you guys haven't been keeping up with DUM DUM Paintball, you guys are missing out. So without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the PTG Show, episode 156. We have a brilliant episode lined up for you guys. You're going to want to make sure to stay tuned in until the very end. We're going to have Mike Hinman and Dalton Vanderbyl both calling in. Lots to talk about, lots of exciting stuff right now, and we're fresh off of a weekend 1 practice. Ty, my brother, how you doing?
Doing good. Let's go, Marchie. It was a fun weekend. The layout is amazing, and we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. Obviously, DUM DUM Paintball with Dalton, and then Hinman has been a hot topic in the news with SDA, and I think they lost Mike Mesa. He went to, I believe, the Newbies and is playing for them for the remainder of the season. So he'll break down all the details going on from within the Aftermath camp. And Mike is still at the forefront of everything. He's always going to be a part of Aftermath, and we're really excited to tap in with him as well on that.
I mean, he's the heart and soul of Aftermath. Anybody that thinks otherwise has it twisted. There's a reason that when Mike has departed, the team has not done as well. Now that comes with both good and bad, right? You know, everybody knows Mike's intense. He demands a lot. He wants his players to treat it like a true profession. And not everybody can live up to that. I understand that in professional paintball, you're not getting paid that kind of money. So sometimes it's not your priority, but if you want to play for San Diego Aftermath, there is a formula. There is a requirement to be there. There's a lot of demand from Mike because he knows that that's what it takes to win. He knows that is what it takes to create some of the best players in the world. So, you know, I understand both sides in the climate of professional paintball and what professional paintball is, but you got to know who you're playing for if you're playing for San Diego Aftermath. And so I know Mike Mesa has definitely, you know, shared his opinion a little bit. We should get him on the show as well. I know he has, you know, his side of things. He posted something on Instagram about, you know, if anybody wants a story, and I think he did maybe go on Vince's show, Let's Talk Paintball. And obviously now playing for the newbies from, you know, we have our man Quinn with Iconic Paintball, who has all the scoop. So definitely curious to hear both sides, but, you know, it is what it is. There's always drama going on in the paintball scene. There's always fun stuff. People like to make it a little bigger than it is as well sometimes. But we're gonna have Mike on here in a bit, and we have some great Discord questions. So I know we'll get to the bottom of it. There's a lot of other things that I want to talk to Mike about as well, because I think professional paintball, as we gear up for the second half of the season, or the tail end of the season, I should say, with the All-Star game and Chicago coming up, and then the big event at World Cup for the grand prize. Pretty exciting stuff for the sport of paintball. So always great to have Mike Hinman on. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and definitely does not mince words. He's down to let it fly. So it's going to be good to have the OG on.
Hinman's the man, and they're going to have the Champions Cup is what they're calling. Is that right?
The Champions Cup.
It's going to be, I believe, a prize package of $40,000 for the winner in the pro division, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So that'll be pretty exciting as we round out the season and move into, obviously, Chicago and the World Cup coming up. Also, Carl Markowski is going to be returning to the NXL, and he will be playing with LVL in Chicago. So be on the lookout for having Carl out there. This should be a great layout for Carl as well. That snake side is lethal once you get in there. And as we saw,
once you get in there is the key, though.
That's right.
You're going to need those wheels to get in there.
Yeah, but if you get through that first cut and you can make it in there, you can definitely do some damage. Yeah. We all saw after playing this weekend that small temple going into the snake is definitely a hot zone. There's a lot going on with those shots off the break initially. And then once you get wide of that into the corner or into that snake, then you're kind of, to the races and able to play that game and get down the field there. The center on this field is crazy with all those bunkers. And then that D side is really quick. The D1, is pretty much a freebie kind of off the break. As long as you do that low route, you can get in there pretty safely. And then, making those next moves up to the following Dorito. If you do the bow around the outside, you can definitely do some damage as well on that Dorito side. So a lot of options with the middle and the Dorito side. And then that snake, we might see it play a little bit slower as the weekend progresses. Obviously, you still got to attack. You got to go for it. You got to send it wide. But we will definitely see how it plays out as the event unfolds out there.
Yeah, Ty, totally. I'm actually very excited to hop in first thing in the morning with Nick Sloviak, and we're going to do our second breakdown. Actually, I think BKI. If you want to join us, for BKI, exactly. I think if you want to join us, we're down to have a third.
There we go.
I know we talked about bringing in a third party to have like a little bit of a different perspective as well on this one after practice. But I'm excited to talk about it for all the BKI members because we learned a ton this weekend, and it does look like it's going to be very hard to get out on the snake side. It looks like it's going to be really hard to get past the Dorito 1 on the break. Both the cans can stop any movement on the break past the Dorito 1 if they're aware of it. But there's some very creative ways to set up your place where you can get out on both sides on the break. And so I'm really excited to dive into that. And then also found a lot of different shots that just, by looking at the initial guns up, didn't quite find, right? There's a lot of nice little bounce shots, little trick things. And so definitely
There's a
excited to
lot
break
of
it
bounce
down.
shots.
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of bounce shots. There
Yeah.
always are, though. There always are. I'm telling you, it's a,
Yeah.
you know what, again, I forget, we've actually done so many of these between the different lives and all the stuff we have going on. I don't remember if we talked about it here on the PTG show, but I'm just going to bring it up one more time. Bounce shots, how important they are. Obviously very important. They win and lose tournaments. So people want to write them off and say, oh, bounce shot, they're stupid. Let's get them out of our game, this and that. We're not going to get them out of our game unless we completely revamp the bunker system. Don't see that happening. So you got to learn to play with them. And I realized it's not just the luck thing. People say, oh, somebody just goes with, 5 pods and they shoot one bunker and they get lucky. When I was coaching the Team USA U19 squad 2 weekends ago in Boston, we were getting ready for the European layout. They already have the layout. It's like 4 weeks out. I wanted us to go through and find all the bounce shots. So shout out to Seth from Wrecking Crew, young Seth. He's a stud. He's always the bounce shot guy. He goes into the bunkers and lets you know, he collects the intel, right? He lets you know if the bounce shot is coming in or not. Poor guy. Cover the package.
Someone's got to do it.
While you're waiting for someone's got to do it. So Trent Nita, who's a pro player, he was just on the show, great player for the Ironman, no slouch, definitely knows how to aim, is going through all the different positions that I was saying, hey, this spot probably is a bounce shot into there, so let's go and check them all out. He would shoot like half a loader, and he's like, it's not working. On to the next. Half a loader, it's not working. And I'm sitting there scratching my head like, I swear that's a shot. I know that's a shot.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me see your gun. So I go in there and literally 10 balls, and I shoot the player.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's, again, like I know you and I, Ty, have had this discussion. So I just don't remember if it was actually on the show or in the Discord or what. But
no, you're on to something huge here because there's a
you gotta
certain
be so crucial on like exactly where you're putting the paint. Not only where you're putting the paint, but at what angle you're putting the paint from. And what I mean by that is, am I shooting with my elbow on the ground so the paint's going at an upward trajectory, hitting the bunker and then bouncing into the player? Or am I trying to shoot from a high angle at a downward trajectory so it hits the bunker and goes into the player? And then where exactly on the bunker am I hitting? The bottom left corner of the Dorito, right where the perfect apex is, where it's like most flat on the outside, or is it the backside? This is all crucial in actually connecting on the bounce shot. It's not a lucky thing. You have to aim at a very small and precise spot. I definitely make the argument that it's harder than shooting somebody straight up. I truly believe that. I'll say that when you shoot someone straight up, you see the target. You know exactly what you're shooting at. Whereas shooting a bounce shot, you have to be just as accurate. You could make the argument that you have to be more accurate, because if the bounce shot is in, let's say, the dead center of the bunker, if you are an inch off, that could be a difference in a foot when the ball actually gets to the opponent, right? So it hits the bunker. If it's an inch off, it could go a foot in the other direction. It's kind of like the boat theory in the ocean. If you just shifted a degree over the course of a couple miles, it's like, in a completely different direction. Same thing. Yeah. Whereas if you miss by an inch when you have somebody straight up, you're probably going to hit them still, So I make the argument that it's a much more difficult shot. But anyway, very excited.
Definitely takes skill. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it sure does.
And it's something that you have to hone into. And like you were saying, Marcelo, it's a part of the game. So you got to be out there looking for those shots and be diligent on shooting a bunch of different areas and try to find that angle like you're talking about to where it connects. Because just by looking, there's like a science to identifying, oh, this looks like there might be a bounce shot here, right? Just looking at those angles. So don't give up on the shot. Let's find out exactly where we got to shoot that and then make sure it connects. And then that's good teamwork, good communication from the player who's watching the shot as well. They can tell you, shoot down a little bit further, or shoot to the side a little bit, or point right to where they think the shot will connect from, and really do that work together with your teammates so you can find those shots.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's crucial to be diligent in those shots. They can change games. They can definitely, I use them all the time. I don't know what else to say. People want to hate on them. I use them all the time. It helps me play better paintball. As a front player, you could use it to contain a side on this field. A very obvious one, Dorito 1 to Dorito 1, into the Dorito side can. So if you shoot the wide player on the Dorito side and you're in the Dorito 1, you can keep them from making that fill. Even though you can't see the landing zone to the Dorito 1, you can keep them from making that fill just by doing the bounce shot, you know? And so like not knowing these shots is only going to hurt you. Ignoring them, thinking that it's cool to say screw bounce shots, it's just going to hurt you, right? Learn them.
That's right.
All right. It's about time to call in the Hingemeister.
Hinman.
And then we'll dive into a little bit of practice. We did practice San Diego Aftermath this weekend. Aftermath looked really good. They were out there grinding. They have a bunch of new kids that they brought up. One of the more notable ones is Brandon Trujillo from he played on the Gummy Bears. He's also on the Team USA U19 squad. We've worked with Brandon. He's been up through the BKI camp. He's been to a bunch of the different stuff that we do. And Brandon is a stud. He's definitely getting really good. And
hell yeah,
he just won the NXL Sacramento event with the Titans in the semi-pro division. They picked him up, and Titans are the team from New Zealand, also known as the former Expendables. And he played great out there. So fantastic. But here we go. We're gonna give Mike a call.
Way to go, Brandon. Congrats, bud.
Was his time.
And shout out to the Expendables. Let's go, Expendables.
Yo, brother.
Hingemeister.
And man.
One ring
Let's go with
pickup. My man.
Let's
You
go,
were ready
baby.
for
Of
us.
course. What's
How's
the
it
word,
going,
Tyler?
man? Oh, not much, man. How's it going?
Same old soup, just reheated.
There we go.
Living the life.
There we go. I know it ain't no chicken noodle though.
Bet I had some earlier from Chick-fil-A. Well, I tell you what.
Ooh, that's right. Forget Chick-fil-A has a chicken noodle soup. How could I forget?
And the mac and
yeah.
cheese.
And DoorDash brings it right to your house now.
Oh no. You're
Hell
DoorDash
yeah.
and Chick-fil-A, Mike? Oh man, we're on to new levels.
Hey, that's when you know you got some money, right?
Shit. You pay more for the delivery service than the food. That's funny.
Don't
Well
sleep.
worth it. Well worth it in this heat that we're dealing with.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Man, we're
Don't
finally
sleep
getting a
on the
little bit
mac
of
and
summer.
cheese either. That mac and cheese is nothing to play with from Chick-fil-A.
Boy, that stuff will put another 20 pounds on my frame, and I ain't got that much more to spare, boys. I see it on there, and I'm like, oh, man.
So damn good.
Say no. Just say no.
I know. Stick with the
That's
chicken noodle.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's good with you, boys.
Oh, not much, man. We're just talking a little bit about practice this weekend. Obviously, we practiced the squad aftermath. Also had New York Extreme out there. We're talking a little bit about the layout and bounce shots.
Tons of bounce shots.
Tons of bounce shots.
We've been bouncing these crazy layouts with a million lines off of every bunker on the team chat all week, and I'm just like, man.
Yeah. They really out there. They're really out there.
There was a million of them, it looks like.
Is there a solution to bounce shots, Mike? Because a lot of people hate them. I've owned them. I love them. I think it's high level. We were actually just talking about how high level I think they are. And it's actually, you can't just guess and just like randomly shoot a bunker. You have to be very precise, because if you're an inch off on the spot of the bunker that you actually need to shoot to connect on a bounce shot, that's a foot difference in, you know, when it actually, the ball gets to the player, right? It's like that. I was equating it to that boat in the ocean theory. You change the direction of the boat by just a degree, and then over the course of, 100 miles, it's miles off course. Similar kind of thing there. You have to be so precise with it. So I enjoy bounce shots because they're part of the game, and I think it takes a high level of skill and understanding, but most people hate them, think they suck. Is there a way to get rid of them?
I mean, when you have 48 or however many pieces on the field, I think it's going to be tough because, we're saying 120 by 150 or whatever the dimension of our field is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have that many bunkers on it, and we're trying to get away from, big corner bunkers and stuff like that. I just don't see how you're going to stop it, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
Tall temple, tall can. Dorito's got a great angle for bounces, right? It just, how do you stop it? I mean, unless you were to put something like skateboard grip tape on the front of the bunkers that would actually break the ball when it hits them, which would turn into a huge mess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you would have like 10-man on hyperball. You'd have huge spray zones where the ball's coming off. I don't know how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a part of the game now. It's part of the framework of what we do out there.
I think you got to look at the whole blind layout that they've used in both of the regional. I mean, I think that gets lost in the regional events, right? Like there was a lot of people not happy with, the money paid to go to local paintball fields and play like the smaller minor events or whatever they call them. But if you stop and just look at what happened with the blind layouts, I mean, like you guys went 1-3, we went 1-3. Not that we're on the same level, but like Dynasty had a tough event on a blind layout. You know, Heat worked their way through, but still didn't win. Blind layouts, I mean, something the sport has to talk about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, when all three of us know that when the teams are talking and the pro teams are talking, rightfully so, Dynasty and Impact and Heat and, you know, the legitimate contender teams have a big voice in those discussions, right? And we've also seen in the pro division, when one or two guys speak up, a lot of the other people just fall in line with that idea and go with it, right? But there's something to be said about those blind layouts, right? Like the Ironman getting second place. I mean, Nikki and all the guys down at Camp Pendleton have been putting in the time. The Ironmen have a lot of grinders, right? Like a lot of those guys are blue chip grinder paintball players.
Oh yeah.
But that second place, like, I think a blind layout helps them, right?
Agreed.
It helps all younger teams, not just them. This isn't, I'm happy for them. Let's first say that, because they're not going to be looking at getting relegated now. But it helps younger teams. Like, I feel like that blind layout has a bigger pattern of somebody having a really good tournament and then, you know, maybe not having good tournaments the rest of the year. Somebody can pull something out. Almost feels like back in the 7-man days, right? Like somebody would just show up and have, you know, Chicago legend Dennis's team won an event, right? You're not going to, those guys aren't, Damien and Jerry and all those guys aren't going to win an X-Ball event. It's just not going to happen. Not in the pro division. Not with the repetition that we have to do. So I feel like, you know, having blind layouts also helps the bounce shots, because you start to learn the bounce shots by the end of the day Sunday in Sacramento. But first day or two, none of us were looking at bounce shots. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or what, off of the California into the home, or whatever we all call it from out here, right? The Utah into the home, or command center, like those couple back center bunkers. Yeah, if there's something big in front of the back center, you could bounce it off of it. You kind of have an idea there's a bounce shot, but not like once we've all had, I mean, 3 days this weekend, 2-3 days this coming weekend, Thursday at the tournament. We've had so much time to work on bounce shots. When it's a blind layout, I mean, I don't know, your guys' meetings, Tyler or Marcelo on Sacramento, you weren't on Thursday night talking about bounce shots that much.
It was in the conversation for sure. It's just kind of it's baked into the field walking process, right?
Totally.
Yeah, you know, but you're right. It's like when you have the layout for 2 weekends, it's even when you feel like you found all the bounce shots, you play a team that does something, you're like, oh, it came off of this pin into me from this weird bunker, and you add it to the collection. It just grows, you know, in the time leading up to the event, 100%.
Totally. But when you don't have the time to dissect it, like you know, you and Tyler talking about it before we're on this call, you know, your brains, and you're talking about the top minds in the game, all of the top minds from all the 20 pro teams are out there really trying to dissect every shot possible. And Joey Blute says this, and, you know, Corey Field and all of our friends that we have are throwing ideas. Hey, did you see this bounce shot? And you're like, didn't see that one. You know what I mean? And by the time we get to the event, there's really not much more to be learned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is fun watching the blind layout progress throughout the weekend, and everybody kind of learning the field as you watch it. You know, it is definitely entertaining, and it's an entirely different process of understanding how to approach the field, not just with your team, but, you know, as a player, and discovering all those bounce shots just on the fly and how to navigate the field on the fly. So it changes the game drastically.
Yeah. I really would be surprised in the next year or two if that's not where we're heading in paintball.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not. I've got a strong argument for having layouts, but I also like the minors. I like also having the blind layouts in there, because I do think it's an interesting twist. Like you said, it benefits the less experienced teams, right? And so I like two things about it. from a spectator perspective, I actually do think it's interesting to watch teams figuring it out in real time. You know, you watch from Friday to Sunday, you're watching teams progress and figure out a field in real time. You're watching every step of the process. You're not missing anything. You're seeing the first time they see the field, and maybe they even, as far as Go Sports, adds an element, you know, of field walking with some of the teams, right? That maybe, I don't know, maybe it doesn't get released until after the event. I'm not sure how you would exactly do that. But if you could capture like the whole process from start to finish, it is really interesting. It's more interesting than I used to feel about it. I know, Mike, I think we've had this discussion before. I know we're kind of on opposite ends of this one, but as far as, you know, blind layouts go, I've started to like them a lot more. I definitely gotta say, because it is interesting. And I was talking to, shout out to Kalen. He's one of the goats in the PTG Discord, but he brought his wife to the Dallas event, and she watches paintball, but she's never played paintball, you know? So she's just a regular kind of sports fan, if you will. And she said something that I thought was really impressive about blind layouts. And it was exactly that. She was like, you know what? This is way more interesting to me because I'm watching these players figure it out on the fly. Like, I know that everybody showed up at the same level. Like, there's no advantage. Everybody showed up here equal, and it's who's going to learn this the best and the fastest, right? And so I was like, I guess that's an interesting story to tell. And so it is interesting. And so it does have some value. And it's actually fun to play too. Like, once we're at the blind layout events, I enjoy it as a player. I think it's like, it's a huge challenge. It's like, how can we figure out how to perfect this field before the other guys? The only thing that I have gripe with is the preparation. Like, I'm a true sports fan, so I love having a field that you can just scrutinize and go and do all the little drills. And like, I can gunfight out of this low spot on the Dorito 1, you know, with my mirror on this exact layout, you know, 1,000 times. And then I could go to the next spot and I could do those shots. And then I love that about layout release, you know, layouts being released. Like, it's so hard for me to step away from that, because to me, it's like the most professional part about our sport. And so I kind of cling on to that. You know what I mean, Mike?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You know, I mean, anytime we talk in our sport that we all play about opinions, somebody's on one side, somebody's on the other side, and it becomes very charged very quick. Like saying who's the greatest, you know, Kobe, LeBron, or MJ, right? Like, people have opinions and you're just not going to change it. But what you're talking about right there is about being fundamentally sound, right? Like, being able to wrap and shoot out of this bunker or this bunker or that bunker or this bunker. And then, you know, for me, I look at it from the WCBL standpoint, where by getting rid of that layout, teams can just show up and play paintball. And the weekend or 2 weekends before, show up and do your drills. Like, put your teamwork time in, right? Like, different layouts. I mean, like back home at ASG, or, you know, wherever you guys practice at, Wayne literally sets up 2 or 3 different layouts across his 3 fields for us. And on Saturday we play one, and Sunday we play another one. And I think that part of it, and especially with all the young players that all of us are involved with coaching, I think in the long term, you're going to start seeing a lot smarter young players coming out. Because when young guys have the field layout to digest for 2 weeks, and there's guys like all of us telling them what to do, they become kind of programmed and a little bit robotic. You know what I mean? Back in the 7-man days, when you didn't have a layout, guys just had to learn how to play paintball on their own without a coach. You know, once that buzzer goes off, there's no Todd can't help Tyler, Skinny can't help you, I can't help SBA, right? Like, guys got to be able to go play paintball. And I think a lot of that just comes down to reps on a field, right? Just putting the time in with your teammates. And another way you got to look at is cost, right? You guys both play on teams with massive budgets, but you're not in the majority, you're in the minority. And a lot of teams don't have unlimited budgets. And I mean, most teams use about a skid a weekend, right? We get 80 cases, 100, 120, however you want to call it. We're using 2/3 of all of our team budgets on practice, 1/3 on tournaments. And just speaking out loud, like, do drills, do all that kind of stuff. I mean, Dynasty, we all know 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, like, those are great drills for guys to work on together. But we spend so much more money practicing than we do at the events. And for an industry that we're not seeing a ton of growth right now, right? Like, COVID, paintball saw a lot of growth because people couldn't go on vacations. We saw everybody you talked to at the big, GI, HK, Valken, the big guys all saw growth. Now life's gotten back to normal and it's flattening out a little bit, right? I'm not saying we're in a decline, but it's just, how do you justify, like Marcelo, you coach the guys out in New York. I know they've got some money behind them, but man, go to the owner and tell them every weekend we need 120 cases of paint. Guys just go broke.
Oh yeah, totally. And to be fair, a lot of the players on that team, chip in and pay their own way as well. So totally. That's always part of the conversation is how can we do this in a cost-effective manner? Like what can we do to make sure we're working as much as we can, but it's also not going to break the bank. Cause you're right. I mean, people get burnt out that way. It's a lot of money for
financial stress is real, right? For all of us that have, kids and families, and you're just like, man, I mean, I can say for myself, what have I been doing this 15, 20 years or whatever? I've legitimately spent over $1 million on paintball.
Uh-huh.
Like Bart, Sarge, payrolls. It might be closer to, I have 2 teams for a while. What is that? 1.2, 1.5. At some point you just stop and look at it and you're like, man, there's a reason why soccer is the biggest game in the world. You need a ball, a tree, and a trash can. There's your goal, and we're playing. You know what I mean? Paintball, we've just made it so expensive. And the current format, while it is a ton of fun, it's just crazy expensive.
Yeah, it's certainly very expensive. It's not and now being one of the owners of Dynasty, I'm in some of the conversations of Ryan, turning down a lot of the ideas that some of us have. And now I understand why, and you actually see the dollar sign associated with the idea and the thought. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe not, let's not do that.
And it's not even shooting down your idea. It's just practicality, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All 3 of us look in our bank accounts and we see how much money's on the left side of that decimal. Yeah. And when the old lady wants to go to Ruth Chris tonight, you're like, Del Taco it is.
We're gonna DoorDash Chick-fil-A.
Right?
Line it
Call
up.
the old boy Hinge and see if I'll send it over. That's funny.
There are other expensive sports though too, like golf, snowboarding, skiing, stuff like that. They're expensive and they still do well. I'm not saying
the interesting point is though, and you're totally right. And I never want to come off negative in my response back because I've not tried, but again, a guy that owned a paint company, a league, a team, all this, and my life has been in sport. Every sport you just named is a single person doing it, right? Right. Golf.
Sure.
You can go play golf by yourself.
Yep.
Snowboard. Ain't nobody holding your hand down the slope, right? What other ones do we got? Like skiing, same thing. Dirt bikes, one guy. And these are all expensive, high-end, upper-level sports. Problem with this sport is, and you see it with a lot of the divisional teams, WC Event 2, I think we had 120-some legit X-Ball teams, and then Event 3, we were down to like 100. And that's a pretty big drop. Now, we always know the event before your championship, Chicago this year for NXL, there's usually a drop-off sometimes because some teams aren't in the hunt. They just step out and then they come back at the World Cup or WC championships. But 20 teams was a big drop. And, I know all these teams on a first-name basis, so you're hearing from people, and guys are just like, hey, Marcelo, me and you and Tyler and Mouse, we could all afford it back in the day, but Whisper and Rory can't afford it. You know what I mean? And it's just, we saw a lot of that, you know what I mean? And
sure.
It's tough, guys, people want to play paintball. That's a no-brainer. People want to play paintball. It's just expensive.
Yeah. Do you think, Mike, that we're missing out on that component of the one person type paintball? Like, do you think that maybe a 1v1 league could be really successful? Or I've even had ideas. I know like UFC isn't for everybody. Dirt biking isn't for everybody. Snowboarding, the list goes on. Extreme sports aren't for everybody, but maybe having like a 1-versus-1 type of lengthy boxing match style format would be really digestible and fun for people to watch and could even maybe attract new viewers and new big time entities even into the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong with it, right? Like, I mean, 1-versus-1 is probably the most easy, digestible way to watch paintball, right? It's Marcelo versus Tyler, and one guy gets shot. There's not 5 dudes shooting at 5 dudes with all these bounce shots. Probably would be easier to present. But I mean, if we really want to talk about growing paintball and new people, how about we just retain some people? I think that, to me, that's one that just really jumps out. I mean, I see these pictures at WC 3 years ago, guys holding a, whatever division they won, doesn't matter, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then you stop and look through those pictures and you're like, that dude's still playing and that dude's still playing. And those 7 dudes are not playing anymore. That jumps out to me. Like, there's a lot of turnover in paintball. And again, I think we come back to the cost of it. I think there's a belief that when they get to the level that we've all achieved, right, that there's just going to be a ton of money and, we got 18 different guns in your gear bag because we just got it like that and a million cases of paint. It's not really like that, We all know that. But I think these young players think when we go up the ladder, there's going to be sponsorship. And it's like the industry has cut its own throat to the point that there is no, like case of paint, $20 or $25 wholesale. There's no margin for the sponsors to give back free paint,
And I think that we need all the formats, like the 5, the big games that we're seeing with the 10v10 in the woods, and even the 1-man or 1-woman format. It's all valuable, and it all adds that texture to the game and the depth of the game. Just like in with bikes or snowboards, there's all these different facets of those sports. Same thing with paintball. We got to have as much of it as possible. And just keep having fun with it, really.
Yeah, it just comes down to cost, right?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the big stressor. Is this what it costs people? And you think you're going to win, and then whatever you think you're going to do going into a tournament Sunday or top 4, whatever it is, and then that doesn't happen. People get real upset. You come into the tournament feeling pretty happy and ready to go, and then you have a bad tournament. A lot of people are like, man. You start rethinking everything you're doing, right?
Hinge, do you think there's like a true way to lower the cost? Is there really a format? I mean, because would blind layouts really do that? You know what I mean? Would it really do that? I feel like teams are still going to play. You got to. Teams are still going to.
You are going to play. The problem you run into is like again. I just use my side of the world because it's the side of the world I know, right?
Yeah.
And like when we were kids, right? Like when you guys were kids coming up in the aftermath camp. People talked about how much we played, right?
they still do.
They still do, right? Like we go to X Factor, they're like, "Yeah, we know you guys are going to be there at 6 a.m. and playing till 5 at night and doing drills after everybody's done."
Yeah.
But the problem is when there's a layout to focus on with it. If say Tyler can't go this weekend with his team, right? Whatever that team is, because maybe his wife or his kids have a birthday. Suddenly he feels a step behind because I heard Aftermath shot 100 cases this weekend, or Dynasty shot, or we hear it now. I heard Heat's out wherever in Texas playing all week long, or the Russians are doing it. There's a perception of unfair advantage for the teams that can do it. And the other side, Marcelo, that you're going to say back is, well, that's part of the professionalism of the sport. Totally. I totally agree with you. But I think we got to stop and really take a look around and be like, dude, this isn't the NFL, man. Like we're light years away from that. How do we not have 4 pro teams wanting out of the league at the end of the year to sell their spots? Or, I mean, look at Diego. Diego came in one tournament, was like, you are out of your fucking mind, dude. Like he didn't want any, and that dude was fired up, right?
That's
like he was,
that whole thing. My God, man.
But I'm telling you, man, like from the owner side of it, like you look at these guys, like I had this talk with my guys recently, and it was like, what do I get out of this? What do I get? Well, if we win or we do good, you look back at Joe Barrett and you're like, Joe, and Joe's my friend. This isn't a negative thing, but you're like, these owners don't get anything out of this. And we're going to spend fucking $250,000, $300,000-$400,000 on budgets for some of these teams for what? you have to, I'm just saying, you got to understand it from all the sides, right? And a lot of these pro teams, we're talking about being professional. We can't even keep teams in there. Like, it's consistently every year, there's somebody falling apart, wanting to sell spots. There's already talks for next year whose spots are going to be for sale.
Yeah, I think a big part of that, though, is because there is no big return when you win a tournament. You know, we get $8,000 check right now.
This is high stakes blackjack with no. And I'm not. This is not a shot. And it's funny because Tom or Bart or whoever says that like I'm always taking shots at them. If I was in Tom's shoes, I would take them off. Like I would not want to walk a mile in his shoes.
He's got a tough job.
But
yeah,
but at the end of the day, like. I mean, yeah, you win an event, and we see it. Like WC teams will go play World Cup or whatever, and we really hope all of our teams go play in the NXL. We want them there, but then they go, from the West Coast. It's a ton of money to go out to World Cup, and they're like, man, if we win, we get a half off or a free entry, like high stakes blackjack with no return. You hit a blackjack, and it's like, oh, here's 20% of your money you put up back. What the? I'm not playing this anymore. It's just expensive, It's not like, hey, Tyler, let's go out to Battle Zone by your house and grab 2 cases of paint and entry. That's affordable. When you're talking about $1,500 to fly your kid and the entry and the hotels and all that and to win nothing back, it's just a tough sell, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's the prestige of playing, the teams that is the accolade, right? Is you're playing against the best players in the world. And you can walk away from there saying, hey, we put up a good fight. This is what we placed and we played against the best. And,
totally. Yeah, no. And you're totally right, Tyler. But when you have 5 or 6 events a year, that's a lot of events. And to Marcelo's original question is, would blind layouts make it any cheaper? I mean, I'll tell you right now, when teams have to practice those 2 weekends and then go to the event and they're paying for it all out of their pocket, when Tom Cole and I talk, and we do talk about like the hurdles, right? The first big hurdle is that entry fee that everybody's got to pay. And that's a big one, right? And then it's the plane flights, the hotels, the rental cars, all that. When you also have $500 in practice paint you got to pay for the 2 weeks leading up to that, difficult, Talk to the DMG guys, right? I'm not like when Joe and Josh, a bunch of our guys played over there, they paid for all their paint. They're like, we just couldn't get good practices in because we couldn't afford all the paint.
Yeah, and those guys have been working their asses off too, man. Shout out to the DMG
for a long time, right? Like,
yeah.
So and that's it's tough. I feel like in paintball, I always say this with Tom too, right? Like if Tom changes 1%, even if Tom Cole came with the greatest idea to save paintball, legitimately, people would crucify him for changing anything. But the truth is, something has to change at some point because I don't know if it's financially sustainable.
Yeah, I think part of this whole Champions Cup is to maybe appease some of that to where like you can see if you do put in all of that sacrifice, you can maybe get a $40,000 check. Still don't know that it recoups everything, but hopefully it's a step in the right direction because there's a lot that goes into it, right? Like I started watching the Formula One documentary. Have you seen that, Mike?
No, I have not.
So it changed my perspective on a few of these things. Like I definitely used to, even the money thing. Like I've before had that conversation of like, there's such a, it's not fair. Some teams can just buy whatever players they want and they can afford this, they can afford that. Other teams can't. Some teams can shoot, a couple hundred cases in 2 weekends of practice getting ready for an event. Some can't. Watching the Formula One documentary, they have all of this. It's at a little bit of a higher scale for sure. But they have all of this. Like the teams with the most money win, period. Their cars are better. So it's like, not even, in paintball, all the guns are kind of equal. And then we cap them at, 10 balls a second. In Formula One, there's like, if you have enough money, your car is significantly better than your opponent's. So it trickles down like, the whole way. And it makes it that much more crucial to be part of a good team, a good organization. It kind of there's an allure to the prestige of that. Again, I'm not saying that we need to go there, but it did shift my thinking a little bit of like,
Well,
okay,
we do need to go there 100%. We just have to grow the sport to there.
yeah,
But the problem is, like, again, like at ATX, Alex Keys and myself would sit and talk numbers all day, right? And we would, when companies go bankrupt, we would see the filings and we would pick through it, looking at the numbers. And like, you're right, Marcelo, you're talking about Formula One, you're talking about Mercedes, you're talking about the big names in the auto industry. They have with billions of dollars in front of them.
totally.
So they can afford to put money into these teams like you're talking about.
Right.
Lamborghini, Ferrari, all those guys. It's a pride thing for all of them, right? But like our sport, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions we have in our sport. And you talk to the industry guys, I mean, look at like the top gun guys. I mean, Eclipse has done very well and they've kept it, Eclipse has done really well. Let's just put it like that. Lux and Smart Parts. I mean, Smart Parts at one point had how many employees? And now it's a fraction of what it used to be. They're still putting out a great product, great guns, great everything. But I mean, when you talk about Eclipse, them, Die, Field One, which I think that's pretty much all the big gun companies in the pro division, their combined sales are laughable compared to any other industry. I mean,
Totally. Yeah,
talk about paintball. Anybody that calls Tyler or you, Marcelo, for a clinic, how many fields do you hear from where you're like, I've never heard of that field in America ever in my life? Because me personally, every account that would call us at APX, I knew on a first name basis. Hey, Marcelo, what's up, Mike? Yeah, shit, same old soup, man. You know what I mean? Like, we all know each other. Our industry, I was talking to Rab about it. Like, right, Steve Rabikoff and Tim Land have a firearm company out of South Dakota that they're like a legit firearm company, Park West. Used to be called Dakota Arms. My dad was a machinist and worked up there for a year in Sturgis, South Dakota, because he's a biker also. And my dad, Steve, Justin, Brandon, we all lived together when we were kids and we worked at Die together. My dad and Steve did. So we were just shooting the shit about like how small of a world it is. My dad worked at the company they now own, and my dad and Steve were friends back in the day. Like, just randomness of life, right? But Steve was talking about the firearm companies. Like, there's a couple 100,000 FFLs, federal firearm licenses. So you're going to hear from people all day. Like, it's just such a large, real industry. Paintball, it's the biggest misconception of how big our industry is. It's not as big as people think it is. It's nowhere close to as big as people think it is.
Yeah, you're correct with that. It's incredibly small. But again, all these other sporting industries, they started small as well. So it's, really all about what can we do to.
The problem is, Marcelo, is are we really getting bigger? Look at where we were at 10, 15 years ago to where we're at today.
Yeah, I actually feel like a lot of people would make the argument that there's more people that at least know about paintball and are interested in the game now than back then. I guess from a, sales perspective, I don't know. I'll
tell you what, Kingman used to give $100,000 to a 7-man league, and they sold $100 spiders. That shows you how many guns they were selling. Tom Cole's lucky to get $60,000 on a platinum level sponsorship that sells paint now. Ain't no way Kingman, Tipman, Azotin, or any of those companies are paying $80,000 to $100,000 to the league to be a sponsor now.
No, definitely not. There's so many more of those companies too, though, right? Like Kingman back then, they owned that market. It was them and Tipman.
Oh,
but now like the base
and then
level
the big
markers,
guys came in and killed and bought them out and killed them off.
Yeah, that is a thing. We definitely, instead of growing the pie, sometimes it seems like we just want more of the pie. Like, hey, why don't we let's make this pie just bigger for everybody? A bigger pie, I'll keep my same 10% of the pie, but if the pie is really big, that's better for everyone.
The 10% grows however much the pie grows.
Yeah,
but in our sport, and again, I'm not, for me, there's idealism, right? And that's cool to have great ideas on how we're going to grow it. But at some point, we got to kind of learn from our past mistakes. And I just kind of wonder as a sport if we're really doing that,
Yeah.
Like the best thing to have would be to have strong regional models. And then from there grow, Texas and the West Coast. And I'm not saying it doesn't have to be cut into 3 pieces of America, the MSXL, MVPS, up in the Northeast. Like there's strong leagues everywhere, but that's got to be the game. To me, it jumps out. And when we started the NXL, that was something Richmond Italia had said, right? Like we need to have regional leagues. And then, maybe the WC has a one-off or with co-promotion with the NXL or however you want to call it. And USXBL does. And then it's up to us. And that's how, back in the 10-man days, that's how it went, right? The West Coast event was Dye's event. Chicago event was Shock Tech's event, right? Like you had somebody behind all those events. And it's up to me to give the most amount of money away at my one-off big event for you pros to want to even come to my event, right? And of course, you'd have to co-promote it with the NXL or a governing body like that. Mm-hmm. But that just makes a ton more sense. Like people, we talk all the time, Vegas. We have the license to go out from the city to go to Vegas and run Craig Ranch for the WC. But how does that help our industry? I'm going to go pump what, $50, $70, $80, $100,000 to set up, build, tear down, whatever that venue. I'd rather give it to Glenn or Dwayne at ASG or Fran or whoever it is to build our local infrastructure and maybe use some of that money to give back to the teams, or on the other side of it, lower the barrier to entry, right? Like cheaper entry fees. Because the NFL does a really great job on going somewhere, setting up a great looking paintball event, running it, tearing it down, cleaning it up, packing it up. Like they're like a logistical company to me, right? Like they do a really good job at that. And there's no, like that's straight down the pipeline. They do a great job. Just expensive.
And I think
culturally,
paintball is bigger than it's ever been right now, just because of the socials and everything. We've just got to find a way to translate that into people playing and getting out there and having fun and providing good experiences for people so that we can continue to grow the sport and have great events all over the country and all over the world for participants who have as much fun as we do playing this game. Because we all know sitting here that paintball is a ton of fun, and it's a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to just get outside and enjoy yourself and have a fun activity. So it's definitely on the up. And all we can do is keep having fun with it and growing it in every way that we know how and being creative like we're talking about here. But it's, it takes all of us working together like we talked about and, just giving it everything we got. That's all it's going to take.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah. Fingers crossed, but I think there's just so much action that we could take. Hey, Mike, what's your perspective on this though? So like Tyler mentioned the socials, right? Which is important. And I always struggle with like, what really, can you break down what made the UFC grow? What made baseball grow? What made the NFL explode into what it is? I think a lot of it comes back as far as paintball to me is people being interested in professional paintball athletes.
Dude,
like, I think that's such a,
yeah, before Mike dives into that, I just want to bring up one point. I kind of brought it up with the 1v1, but I think that the reason people like UFC is they like seeing people go at it and get messed up kind of, and
yeah, sure.
And it's not for everybody, but I think if there was like a crazy format of paintball like that, like I said, like the boxing match style where you wear a tank top and these two players just go at it, I think for the socials and for the algorithm like we talk about, I think it would just blow up with something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's, the story, right, is what we're talking about now, right? Like,
correct.
There's a really big story in paintball and an interesting one because, yeah, the UFC, you see Conor McGregor or whoever walking around getting prepped ready for a fight, but it's not as cool as the story in paintball, right? Because you got, any one of our teams, like let's use Dynasty, coaches, Vic, you got out there helping, you got your pit staff out there helping. Like there's a huge family involved in getting Dynasty ready for an event, right? Same with Aftermath, same with Heat. Like Heat's got a huge base. There's a really interesting story to be told there. And I don't know if we're doing a great job on selling that part of it, right? Like nobody really sees the madness that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of really good stories that could be told, but we don't seem to be promoting it, right?
Yeah, the family is so important. I mean, it's everything. It's everything to the organization, right? It's the backbone of why teams are successful. Is that culture that they build with the family from within, and there's a huge story there. You're absolutely right, Mike.
Yeah. And I just don't, and it's in every team, right? From Division 5 all the way up. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of interesting stories that come into it, and we don't seem to be selling it. And that's how reality TV really kicked off, right? Like,
very
you
true.
can turn on 90 Day Fiance, Love After Like. There's some wild stuff out there that people seem to care a lot about. You know what I mean? And I think we just got to figure out a way to get it out there. And, you know,
Yeah,
I think Dirter and all those guys back in the day, Foo and all those guys, Monkey with a Gun, like, did a really good job at that. And it kind of feels like we've definitely lost that a little bit, the story.
well,
Totally,
we have
Heroes for a Day.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of media in paintball right now, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing someone tackle those types of stories, and I'm sure we'll see that as we move into the future. Mike, we have some Discord questions. I know you guys just had a really fun practice weekend and training hard out there in SoCal, so we want to dive into a couple of these with you. This one that we got is from, where is okay, here we go. GG Pit Boss Nate. Who do you see filling the role of Mike Mesa? I know that he departed the team on Aftermath, and I'm sure that we probably
And
want to.
everybody wants to know about the Mesa situation.
Yeah, I do.
100%. Everyone's curious. Hinge, break it down.
I don't know if anybody fills Mike Mesa's shoes, right? Like, you know, Mesa's a player, like, you know, you guys have all played with him and against him, right? Like, Mesa's a very high energy, emotionally driven human being, you know? Like,
Yeah,
when he screams, get it, you know,
yeah,
the beep up, like, you actually believe in him, right? Like, and myself included, right? Like, you know, when we're getting ready for a match and the guys are getting hyped up and I'm off to myself, I don't really jump in the middle of all that anymore. But, like, when you would hear that dude yelling, you know, there's a lot of realness coming out of his mouth. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you kind of like Tyler, you on Dynasty. I don't think you replace Tyler on Dynasty, right? You just move on and Dynasty gets Archie and Archie's Archie and Tyler's Tyler and Marcelo's Marcelo. And Mike Mesa's going to be Mike Mesa. You know what I mean? For better or for worse, he's who he is, you know? So I don't know if you really replace that guy. I mean, do we have a lot of guys on the team? 100%. You know what I mean?
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah,
And, you know, if we're being real about it, well, Tyler, when you left Dynasty, a lot of people thought this might be the beginning of the end. Totally honest. You know what I mean? And then the Dynasty guys not bounced back, but they just found, like Dynasty does with grit and gumption, a way to be Dynasty without Tyler, with this guy, with that guy, and other people have to step up. And I'm not saying Aftermath is anything on the level of Dynasty or Heat or Tyler or Marcelo or anybody like that, but it's an opportunity for somebody to step up, or it's an opportunity to be 1-3, which we've been for the last two tournaments. So,
yeah,
and that's not, I mean, Mike was there and we were 1-3. So maybe we go 4 with them. I don't know, you know, or the team goes 3-1 and somebody steps up and acts like the leader of a team, right? Like, it's an important, not the falling down, it's the getting back up, right?
that's
So
it. Yeah,
does that, you know, like, I don't know if any team ever replaces a guy like Mike. You know, we've all played with intense dudes, and he's a really intense dude. I don't know if there's an intense dude like that on the team right now. You know what I mean? Or on a lot of teams, to be totally fair. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
It's a great
it
opportunity.
is what it is. You know, it was. I respect Mike. You know, he was the one who let the cat out of the bag. He quit at the tournament, right? So we, as a team, none of us let it out whatsoever. I think a couple days ago at nighttime, he released that he was gone or whatever, when the rosters came out. And that was really his decision. I mean, we wouldn't have said anything, right? Like, just out of a respect for him. It was said by other social media platforms that like he wouldn't be released or wouldn't be able to sign with another pro team. I mean, I personally messaged Trozen and said, hey, he was gone by this date, which is before, I guess, the league, August 12th was the roster lock date. I never got that memo. But Mesa was off of our team before then. And we're at the end of the month, so that tells you how long it's happened for, right? And we just, out of respect for Mike, nobody wanted to really talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, he made his decision, and that is what it is, I mean, he definitely pointed the finger at me because, it's not healthy for him and mentally and this and that. I mean, I don't know, man. Marcelo, you've been at a lot of our practices and seen who's yelling and screaming, and, I don't think that one sits on me, but okay, What else can I say?
Yeah, I mean, but before we had you on, Mike, we kind of touched on it again because obviously, Mesa released something on his IG about the Aftermath program isn't good for your mental health, and so maybe he had some issues. I don't know, but I take that kind of stuff a little personally because I've always really held the Aftermath camp and that whole program very dear to my heart. It's kind of where I came from, and it's produced a lot of talent, but not in his defense, but what I will say is, and I did say, is it's a hard camp to play for. If you want to be on a team where accountability is not breathing down your neck every step of the way, and if you want to be in a camp or an organization where you're just there to have a good time and hope that you win, it's just not the place for you.
100%.
It's a different animal. And, it's tough because we just had this whole conversation about paintball and like the return from it, right? We're not showing up to these events to win, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're not showing up to, this isn't my contract year and I'm hoping that next year I'm going to sign a $50 million deal. It's not that at all. It's how much am I going to have to maybe pay or miss out on or time away from this and that. So it's sacrifice. So I understand players that want to have a good time along the way and they want it to be this like, look, it's not the end of the world if we don't win kind of thing. But that's just not me. That's not the players that have really thrived from the Aftermath way, period. And I think people are blinded if they don't understand what they're getting into when they go play for you. It's who you've always been. You've never been anybody different. You haven't changed. You never told somebody that like, I'm going to be this way. And then you're not. You expect a lot out of your players because
I think to be totally honest and fair from my point of view, I think I've actually calmed down exponentially from who I was when you were a kid or even when Tyler played on my team.
I will give you that. So to say you haven't changed at all is a little unfair.
But like, you don't see, not once in the pit do you see me yelling and screaming, and we got players, and we're not even going to name names. Just watch the tape coming in, starting shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, we had some tough losses in Philadelphia, right? Some 1-point losses, an overtime loss. Like we lost the Impact 5-3 and Frank got a really bad penalty, it was totally Frank's fault. Frank owned it. You know what I mean? Like, he got shot in the hopper, shot the last guy. They throw a major. We have 2 more left. All are pulled on a penalty. It's a swing point for the other team. 5-3. Now it's 4-4, and we're right in it, going to overtime. But it was what it was. And, we're all, Marcelo, Tyler, we've all been there when we've had really bad events. And never once did I point my finger at the team or anybody. I just, David Ramirez and I were like, how in the fuck did that just happen? You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to like take it all in, and other people are the ones yelling and screaming. Like Corey Field said, I watched somebody quit twice in Sacramento on the team, match after match. I mean, we want to blame it on me. That's totally okay. I'll take the blame.
No way, dude. I
personally, and again, it has to be said, like, Mike has every right to feel the way he feels, period. He has every right. And you're right, Marcelo, you said that. Mike's paying out of his pocket. He's got a life and a business that does well back home for him, right? He makes good money. He does well for himself. He's a man, right? He actually takes care of himself. His parents aren't paying for him. But he's a grown-ass man. And he has his way he wants to do it. And, Mike likes to party and hang out and just have fun, legitimately. For me, it's I want to do all that. We go out to I've spent thousands of dollars at every event on nice dinners for our team to have fun. But for me, there's a bigger percentage probably put on accountability and putting your time in. You know what I mean? And like,
Totally.
unless you've won, what the fuck are we even talking about? You know what I mean? And in Florida, we were in a really good spot. And some guys haven't stepped up. Some guys have stepped up. And I'm always going to be the bad cop on the team, right? Like, my job is to hold people accountable. Period.
Yeah.
You know,
You
I don't
got the biggest
want everybody
shoulders,
to
though.
be my best friend. You'll either respect me I am going to always push you to be better. Marcelo, Tyler, whoever it is, Oliver, whoever I've coached, I have to push them to be better, right? And that's my thing. And, you know, again, there was no blow-ups at me. It was that all the other teammates and this and that. And then at the end of it, it was all my fault. And it was like, oh, okay. Okay, what else can I say back? You know what I mean? Cool. And it's a different time and age, right? Like, there's a lot of soft human beings. Truthfully, there's a reason why guys like Marcelo and yourself are never going to be dethroned in this sport. Not because this is not a Mike Mesa thing. It's the younger guys that we're trying to coach up. They have no want to cut either of your throats. Like, when we were kids coming up, we wanted to get after the 10-man guys, right? The legends of our game. Like, the Shanes, you know, Billy Sharansky, Todd Adamson, we all wanted to beat those guys. There was respect, but we wanted to dethrone them, right? But this day and age, there's just not that. So I think you have a bigger issue when you're being held accountable. A lot of guys, you know, are upset they don't get a big enough participation trophy. And just, I'm not handing them out, bud. Like,
That's what I appreciate
that's how I
about
feel
you, Mike.
about it, you know?
That's what I love about
What's
you
that?
so much, dude, is that mental
True, though.
tenacity. Yeah.
But you know what's funny is when all this is happening, and again, you don't see us talking about it. You can say you respect other people. If you have respect for people, you know, you got something to say to me, pick up the phone. Like I was told, what people say behind your back. I give two shits what anybody has to say behind my back. Like, same with you guys. If somebody doesn't like me and they only want to talk behind my back, just go hang out with the rest of the snakes. You know what I mean? Like, I know who I am. I know, and you guys know that if you could pick up a phone and call me and I'd be right there for you. You know what I mean? As I would Mike, as I would all the Aftermath guys that have been through our camp, right? Or even guys that haven't been through our camp, just paintball friends in general, you know? But it's tough, you know? Something I always say, man, we're all friends outside that net. And there's a community everybody listening to is part of. But let me be really clear about this. There's another community that some of you will never understand. And it's when you walk through that net onto that field. And it's a whole different animal out there, man.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
Like some of y'all jump in the cage and jump in the water with the great whites and you got metal bars protecting you. Jump in the water without the metal bars with all these great whites. And that's what I'm here for, right? Like, I'm not here for, clout in paintball, please. You know, I'm here to win. I want to beat you guys. When we're done, there's respect. I'm never going to disrespect you guys. Like, we all have a good time, but my goal is to be, and like Mouse, right? Like Mouse, Marcelo, like those are the original kids. I have no doubt Mouse wants to crush me every time he plays me. I would expect nothing less from him. And when we're done, there's a legitimate, heartfelt hug and handshake, and you're happy for him. You know? So there's just different levels of expectation, I think, is what you come down to, right? And
Absolutely.
for me, my expectation is extremely high. And if you're a live action role player, AKA paintball player, and you just want to go through the motions and do this and that, you're right. This ain't the team for you. If you're a number 2 on the Dorito side only or a snake back only, it's not the team for you. If you can't do every job on the field, I'm going to have an issue with you for sure.
Mike,
just what it is.
That leads into another great question from the Discord from Big Wolf D.
Yep.
He says, Mike, with your recent pickups of young talent like Castro and Trujillo, what do you look for in young talent? And are there any other young players you think are close to being in the pro ranks?
Grit, right? We've always looked for grit in human beings. Moxie, as Dan Wake would have called it. Like, you got to be, maybe we don't all come from the same street of life, or however you want to call it, right? The same background. But grit is a pretty universal language, I believe, heart, grit, real human beings. And that's what we look for, And Castro, a.k.a. Cousin, like, he's not the toughest kid in the world, but he's always there when he's expected to show up and ref or to do this. Unless he's at work because he's becoming a nurse, he's always there. Julian Vasquez, another guy on the Gummy Bears that's on our practice squad and has been. Just young kids that are hungry and gritty. Brandon Trujillo, he did great in semi-pro. Marcelo, we talked, or you messaged me about him a little this weekend. He played good. We're just looking for kids that fit a mold, gritty guys that if, I'm a Dorito guy and you're like, hey man, you take the 50 snake on the hot. And they're like, all right, cool. Which way do you want me to run? You got guys, I can't do this. I can't do that. We're not really too interested in you.
Absolutely.
Facts.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Crystal clear.
No different than you, Marcelo. You were up at Velocity. Your dad worked up there, right? Like, I knew who you were. And this kid's always out there playing, getting the shit shot out of him, right? You were just a little kid. And I literally tracked your phone number down, and it was like, I don't care how you play up in those eucalyptus trees at Velocity Paintball. What I care about is that you're a gritty dude, and I've seen your lips bleeding from getting shot in the face. You know what I mean? And like, you're still going hard. Like, that's the kind of player I need. And that's the kind of player all teams need. Diesel, Texas, there's a lot of guys out there that are doing that. Wherever you see young talent, another one like the ML Kings, like there's some names on the ML Kings that may not finish their career out there, but we're going to hear Connor Kelly's name, right? Like, he's a gritty ass dude. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, watching them play, you're like, win, lose, or draw, that we beat them, they beat it, whatever. But like, you're watching them play and you're like, man, this guy's really trying. Now, if he had, a Dynasty or a Heat or a Damage level team behind him doing that, those moves would look even better. You know what I mean? So there is some grit out there. Like, those are some names that jump out to me. Like, that guy's got a lot of grit in him.
Hell yeah. Love that. All right, we got...
I think the fit team is full of grit, too. Trenton Mason. That dude's like 6 foot tall. He's a grown-ass man in the snake, handling business. He's just a gritty dude, right?
Yes, sir. Shout out to Paintball Fit. They're doing big things out there.
Great organization.
Yeah, the field out there is crazy with the lights and everything that they have going on. It's amazing. We got Clint Riddle. Mike, can you walk us through your approach to having difficult conversations with your team or with people in your league? How do you discuss those hard topics without burning bridges, or do you just let them burn?
Both of you guys have dealt with me on difficult things. First of all, accountability, right? Like, two different things. Well, and they cover both sides of accountability.
Yeah.
On our pro team, there's got to be accountability. You made a mistake. It's fairly simple. Just, hey, man, but people on Aftermath or guys that have left, I believe certain guys get preferential treatment. And they might be right about that, right? Like, I do hold Frank to a different standard, because when Frank makes a mistake, I get a message from Frank after the tournament breaking down his mistake. And it's not, he's never once said, well, because Tyler did this or Marcelo did that or David Ramirez did this, that's why I did that. He takes full accountability. And like, I'll use again Marcelo, because we practice each other every event usually. I see Marcelo rip into his guys. But when somebody says, hey man, I made a mistake, I fucked up here, boom, this is what it is, and move on, I don't ever hear Marcelo going off on him. But when somebody sits there and is like, no, that didn't happen, I didn't get shot, I didn't cheat. And Marcelo's like, and it's accountability, right? Marcelo's holding his own team, because Marcelo knows you're only as strong as your weakest link. So accountability is a big one. And at some point, to the question at hand, if some people can't be accountable and that causes them to leave your team or to blow up your relationship with that person, you probably never had a relationship with that person, right? It wasn't 50-50. They're just taking and taking. And the second you say no, there's a problem. And when you go on the other side of that question, like in my league, I hear it all the time. The refs screwed me, this, that, the other. And you're like, dude, I'm watching you play all weekend. You cheat like a savage. Just take accountability for it. Yeah, I mean, both you guys coach in my league at times. You see it.
Yep.
And the refs make good calls, and the refs make bad calls, and the refs make tough calls. But at the end of the day, all you can do as a player is be accountable for your own actions. And it's funny how they'll point one, let's just call it a bad call for argument's sake. And you're like, but your dude has been hit 3 times this match and not gotten a major where they could have rang him up. And just, there's really an issue in the game right now of culture and accountability.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
Mm-hmm. Accountability. I don't think that's just in the game, though. I think that's a generational thing. I really do. That's a whole deeper
100%.
discussion. But it's 100%. I mean, accountability is like a tough thing. People are just want to find every excuse as to why they are the way they are, or why they're getting the results they're getting, rather than looking inward and taking accountability. Pretty important word to understand and own, in my opinion. Mike, yeah. I have another question. This is shout out to Quinn from Iconic Paintball. This is a fantastic one here. He says, Mike, you've always been a great developer of players in professional paintball with an eye for talent. Over the years, you have helped develop some of the game's best players. What do you think the Aftermath needs so that it can ascend past the development stage it's been in the last few years and take its spot among the top of the league? Sorry, that was tough to read that last part for me. I don't know why.
Well, but, I don't. That's a tough question. You know, it's a great question. I don't know until you're there if any team gets to the top of the league, right? I mean, could we do better? Yeah, we've had some guys come and go. I mean, Pinky came and gone. Mesa's gone, right? I think we'll lose another 1 or 2 in the off season from real life. I think it's tough right now. I mean, I think a bigger issue in the sport right now is a lot of teams. I mean, look at Diesel, right? They lost Clint last year. Where do you find talent right now? Mm-hmm. So the question is, and I feel it's a lot like Major League Baseball in the sense of sometimes you got to go real young with it and try to develop players in-house and bring them up. And that's obviously where we're at right now. We've got a lot of young guys. We're sitting in the middle of the pack right now. I think we're going to see more of our young guys get more reps the next event or two. And for us to transcend that, I mean, we have a plan in place. I mean, you know, there's a big story about Wayne from ASG was helping. He was down there. I mean, Marcelo, I think, you know, you said the team looked great this weekend. I think Wayne did a great job with the guys, you know. Simply put, I don't like calling plays. I don't mind having input on it. I don't mind helping with it. But for me, I don't need a paper with X's and O's telling me where to go. I understand what we need to do per layout, you know. But a lot of younger guys need very basic, laid out, drawn out, very simple X's and O's of paintball. So that's where like Jerry helped before, but he, with his departure, Wayne's there helping with it. I think our guys just need more practice, more drills. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. And then just more reps, right? It takes 10,000 hours to be a real top level pro player. Like once you get into pro, it's going to take a year, 2 years to really, of the same team, to have a good thing going, you know? Look at LVL.
Yeah.
You know, the LVL 2 years before they kind of showed up last year and really did good, they were looking at relegation at one point, right? Yep. And they've kept the same, pretty much a lot of the same guys in, and that's helped out a lot. So for us, keeping any young team out there, when you go into the off season, if you played the whole year together, if you can keep 70 or preferably 80% of your core intact into the next season, you're in a really good spot. 100% would be even better, right? But keeping the same guys, and look at Heat and Dynasty's model. And who was the last guy that Heat got rid of? Sergey?
Yeah.
Sarge doesn't really, for better or worse, Sarge sticks it out with his guys, and as does Dynasty, right? Like, it's the same guys, and there's something to be said about that. So I think, you know, saying these are going to be the guys and just working really hard through the offseason. I mean, it's really hot right now. Kind of hard to go out and play when it's 115 out, but just putting the time in. I mean, just like the gym, right? You go put your 3 hours a day in, you're going to look like Mouse.
Straight up.
right? Like, so that's for us. That's what we have to do. We have to go put the time in, and we have a plan to do that, and we're attempting to do it now.
I don't know. I think you need a little extra. I'm in the gym a few times a day, and I don't quite look like Mouse. How do we get taller? Can we can we does that work? Am I supposed to hang from the pull-up bars? I don't know.
Funny, Mouse sends me those videos of him as a little kid, and I'm like, man,
it's crazy.
that dude done tripled in size.
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny.
Amazing.
So
yeah, man.
Well, Mike, we cannot thank you enough for stopping by PTG. We actually are going to have Dalton on the show right after this, so it's kind of an aftermath alumni kind of show we got going on. And I know on behalf of the whole PTG Nation, everybody loves hearing your thoughts and everything that you do in paintball. So we can't thank you enough, Mike, for stopping by and just, keeping paintball thriving and having fun with it, brother.
yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. And, anything I can ever do, I'm always here, boys.
Dude,
Mike,
you're
know
the
it,
fucking
Mike.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Appreciate you, Hinge. And we always say this because I know all of the listeners, everybody that listens to PTG, they love anytime you come on the show. So got to keep it a regular thing. Got to have you on, talk about all the hot topics.
I'm always here for you guys, man. I appreciate both you guys,
Hinge.
man. I'm super proud of both you guys.
Thanks,
Dude,
Mike.
much love,
Appreciate it,
Mike.
brother. Much
We'll
love.
see you soon.
Definitely. You guys have a good night. Good night,
You
everybody
too,
out
bro.
there.
Peace.
Hinge, man, he's a legend.
Yes, he
he's
is.
a legend. He's a legend, dude.
He's crushing it,
Definitely,
as always, dude.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Dalton. He's been standing by, waiting for us to call him in. Dalton has a ton of exciting stuff going on right now. DUM DUM Paintball is like the coolest thing to hit the paintball scene in a long time. They just wrapped up some amazing content this last weekend. So let's give him a call. Is it
going to be a YouTube show? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
There we
100%.
go.
That was weird.
Get him on the horn. And we got some great Discord questions for him as well here.
Yeah, facts. The Discord's lit. They do a great job.
Let's go Discord. Mike was quick on that ring, huh? That first ring, he said, blood out.
Hey, what up? You reached Dalton. Sorry, I couldn't come to the phone.
Is he joking? Here we go. You really did that. Hold on. You really did that.
DYNAST.
Why did you do that?
What happened?
Well, we called you and you sent me. We went to voicemail. We went all the way to
Straight
voicemail.
to voice, dude.
Not
Dude,
straight to. Yeah. PTG
I had
to
to keep you
voicemail.
on your toes.
Well, I'm on my
Keep you on
butt
your
cheeks.
toes.
Right, I'm on my butt cheeks, sitting in my chair right now.
What up, baby? How's it going?
Oh,
Doing good, bro. Good to have
Yeah,
you
we're
on.
chilling.
We just actually had Hinge Master on the show right before you, so we were tapping in with him.
The Hinge. What's the energy level at right now? We happy, worried, sad, scared?
We're happy, dude. It's been a great show so
nice.
far. Yeah, we started off with some good content.
Heck
Hinge
yeah, baby.
came through. He dropped some knowledge, dropped his perspective on some things. And my favorite segment of the show with Dalton Vanderbyl is about to commence. So I'm pumped.
No way.
Things are right.
Oh,
Things are right.
Yeah, dude. Always good to talk to the Hinge Master, man. It's unfortunately we didn't get to see him last week, and I don't know where he was, but
Yeah.
I love seeing that guy, man. He's the legend. He's the GOAT coach.
He is, yeah, the GOAT developer for sure. That is for damn sure. He has helped build some damn good players. It's funny. I've talked about this before on the show. Even when he's with Aftermath and when Dynasty practices Aftermath and he's there, I feel like I play better. I'm like, I'm gonna show you what's up, Mike. We've been in this a long time. I know you got your eyes open, and there's definitely been some practices where I've gone off a little bit, and he's like kind of cheering for me and making fun of his own guys, which is great.
So
100%. I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
What's going on in Dalty Land? Talk to us.
Dude, it's been busy trying to get this call and be a dad and go to work and clean my paintball stuff and get ready for a flight.
Yeah.
Too much.
It's too much.
Tapping out, baby.
Now you're editing videos. You're a content creator now. You got like a paintball business. Who would have thought, dude? I've been telling you this for 15 years.
Dude, I'm so stoked about this Dum Dum stuff. For those of you who don't know, we're trying to start this new Dum Dum Paintball Dynasty content YouTube creation we got going on. Nothing comes easy. It's funny because you watch these these millionaire YouTubers and you're like, yeah, they just picked up a camera and then became millionaires. It's crazy. It's like, no, man, you don't know how much work goes into just anything, dude. Just to create, anything. It's an impossible task, but it's super fun. I was so happy. I've never been like this pumped to even play paintball and practice and some of the content that we're creating that we could talk about a little bit, but it's just giving a little spark to paintball and fun, and it's gonna be good.
Dude, it's some of the most epic. I think I told you. Well, I definitely told you. I'm pretty sure I told people on air too. But when I was in Australia, this was like after you guys did one funny video. You guys played us with your shirts off. I'm in Australia and everyone's asking about the Dum Dums, and I think it's such a relatable thing to paintball. And what I think is even funnier is I've been busting my ass. So is Tyler. We bust our asses to like create paintball content week in and week out. You, I think, are just going to slide right in after not doing anything for 15 years, and you have this master creation, and I think it's just going to explode and be bigger than everything.
That's funny because over the weekend, I heard you say that, and that compliment, like, it almost gave me a little boost. I'm like, dude, he's right. That's cool. If he thinks that, I could do it, baby. I could do it.
Bro, it's perfect. It's like, it's so you. It's funny, like giving people access to you, and obviously there's more that's involved with the Dum Dums. The Dum Dums are a growing team of infected idiots, which is fantastic. But dude, like, yes, you've got the juice, Dalton. People fucking love hanging out with Dalton. Dalton is great. People want more of Dalton. So I love it. I think it's so hilarious, and it's so like relatable with paintball players. So we're all Dum Dums. And this weekend, for all the listeners, we haven't talked about this yet. Skinny put us into 2 lines, and on Saturday I was on the Dum Dum line, and it was the most fun I've had playing paintball. We didn't even talk to the other line, which was like Archie, Ryan, Alex, Yosh, Kyle. We didn't even talk to them like in between points. We had like no, like it was like our line and then their line. And dude, it was just so great. It was so blissful. It was fantastic. It was a good time. Dum Dums are on fire, dude. I love it.
Yeah, it's funny because it kind of happened kind of really organically, and like, so yeah, obviously, I don't know if you guys saw the video of the Dum Dums. We took our shirts off and played the other line of Dynasty, and some people got some footage of it, and it just created a lot of like fun conversations, like the things that were said, the competition that was between the 2 lines, and it was just so fun. And I'm like, dude, if we have something here, if we could capture this, like obviously on film, and it's not easy getting all the production for it and the mics, and it's a lot of work, but we're figuring that stuff out as it goes. But the content is definitely there, and then it kind of stems into like these challenges that I've created, and some of the guys are creating. That it's getting real fun, because last week we had Nate Sloviak and Harrison Sane from Ironman in New York Extreme, and I'm sure you guys are going to be able to see some of this. It's going to be great. But we did basically a blindfolded, Tyler, it was a 3-on-3, dude. You should have seen it. And I knew it was good because
so good.
Even Ryan was like dumbfounded how good this was. And he was like, almost, I could see the look on his face, like, what the heck? Good, dude. And it was just really fun. It's going to be fun, dude.
So where can people follow this movement? You got to let the people know, like the YouTube channel, the Instagram. Where can they get involved?
So we haven't dropped any videos yet. We're obviously gearing up here for Chicago. We got a lot of the content already created on some of the footage as far as that is. We're just getting Johnny Gwynn is going to be doing the editing and most of the video, and some of the Dum Dums are doing a lot of the vlogs themselves and making their own stuff. But so we're trying to get the first video out a few days before Chicago, if possible. But it's all going to be on Dum Dum Paintball YouTube. There's a Dum Dum Instagram, so stay tuned, and we'll have the first video drop soon. So just stay tuned.
Hell yeah.
Dude, for the
Well, be
listeners,
sure to let us know.
I was late
Yeah.
Sunday because Dalton and Johnny stayed at my place. We cruised out to the car Sunday morning, and some little punk decided to unplug my car from the charging station. It's funny because I have cameras, so I have everything on film. This kid at like midnight walks up drunk. He's stumbling with a broomstick in his hand, and he like unplugs the charger from my car and throws it in the grass. So, you know, I woke up in the morning and like I check my app. For some reason, it's something I always do when I wake up in the morning. If it's on the charger, I just want to see, one, if my car's still there, since my car did get stolen from my parking spot. And two, if it actually charged, because I've had the charger station like not work before. And it's like, hey, if I need an extra 15 minutes, I want to be able to leave the house early. So I checked and my car was on 27%. And I was like, shit, it didn't charge again. And then I went out there and like the charger was thrown in the grass. Long story short, none of this really matters. I had to go charge my car. I was late to practice. I showed up and I got there right as they started this 3-on-3 like blindfold thing. And I already knew the idea because Dalton had told me. So like I'm watching it play out, dude. It is the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in paintball. It's like so good. It is so damn good. So I personally, just as like a fan, I'm excited to see all the stuff that you end up creating, man, because I think it's like, that's a perfect space of paintball that we don't really have yet. You know, we don't really have like the jokesters or the jackass kind of thing of paintball. You know, we don't have that. And that's important for, I think, all sports. You look at even like basketball, right? Those parodies, the Kobe Bryant parodies.
Yeah.
I know you know which ones I'm talking about. Tyler, have you seen those?
Oh yeah.
Like, my man just wasn't boxing out and dunking, you know? Of course he's not going to get a girlfriend. He's just not boxing out and dunking. Bitches like, you know, guys that box out and dunk. It's like, those aren't my words. Those are the words of the YouTuber, right? But it's like funny stuff like that gets engagement, you know, and it keeps people excited about the game. I love that you're doing it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, there's so much good paintball content. I mean, you guys create some of the best content for actually learning and developing your skills as far as growing as a paintball player and just in life in general. I mean, your guys' stuff on what were you guys talking about the other week, just on mentality?
Yeah.
I mean, I listen to that still as like, dang, man, I get so motivated listening to you guys in general. But, I mean, maybe just because you're my friend, so I'm a little biased. But as far as like creating content just for pure entertainment and fun and just being silly and not taking yourself too serious, I mean, I think that really hasn't been tapped. So this is, I think that this is, we got something here for that for sure.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal, dude. And talk to us about that creative process too, because that's something that, like you said, it takes a lot of work and a lot of passion, and it's not easy, like you were kind of hinting towards. So what has that creative process been like? I know it's the most difficult in the beginning, and then as you get rolling into it, it kind of becomes a little bit easier. But you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who want to create a YouTube channel or, you know, have a fun idea that they want to bring to life. What would be some advice that you would have for them with this journey that you've started here?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not easy. Like, I mean, it kind of stems honestly from watching a lot of YouTube content, because at work I do a lot of YouTube, and I've been searching and like studying, and I listen to, I don't know if people are familiar with Mr. Beast, but he was on Joe Rogan, and he was
Hell yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, Mr. Beast, he's huge. He's like the biggest YouTuber, and you know, you watch YouTubers, and like I said, like it looks so easy, just pick up a camera and go. But like the things he's studied, like he literally studied like YouTube and as a whole, and then like the music and how fast the cuts are as far as like watching clips and how many angles, and it's like there's an art to it, you know. And I started studying YouTube and watching and seeing what gets views as far as paintball. And if you look, there's paintball, like, you know, there's some videos that are out there with millions of views, and you know, I've been studying those and trying to mimic like some of the ways I could, touch outside of paintball, really, because that's how you get really big. Is like, and that's cool in general for our sport, because the more eyes on it, obviously, the better for us in general. But like, just really honing in on YouTube and watching what's getting views, what's getting clicks, what's getting and it's been a grind. So I'm still figuring a lot of this stuff out. And it's funny because we did some of the videos, and I had some random guy, I forget his name. I wish I could give him a shout out, but he was out there at Camp Pendleton, and he was filming for me, and he was behind me. We did like some 10-on-1 craziness. And then I got lit up, dude. Obviously, it was 10-on-1. And I look at the camera guy, and he just got obliterated, dude. My brand new camera. I'm like, come on, dude. And yeah, these are the trial and errors of being a camera guy, obviously. And I'm figuring this stuff out. But it was fun.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah, Dal, I could not agree with you more. The reason I'm so excited about what you're doing is because I think it's like the first pieces of paintball content that could just really go viral to people that don't care about paintball, that don't know about paintball, just people that are like scrolling YouTube and they see this 10-on-1 against the, world's best team, whatever. But they see that and they click on it and it's like, boom. Oh, this is so sick. This is hilarious. And that gets people attracted. Like, I truly believe that. I think that's the landscape that we're in right now with social media, with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We're in that landscape, and you're honestly like, dude, you're the perfect person for it. And so you committing yourself to this, I mean, it could truly have like long-term implications on the sport. It really could. It really, really could. It's like, how do we get more eyes on the sport? That's the question everybody asks. Everybody asks that. Right? That's what Tom Cole wants to know. That's what Bart Yakimek, who just bought Go Sports, wants to know. That's what all the big wigs want to know. How do you get more eyes on the sport? Well, guess what? Right. A lot of people are on YouTube. A lot of people are interested in entertainment. Sports are entertainment. Yeah. So like having this kind of version of getting our sport out there, it's huge. You just got to stay consistent. You can't fuck around and get lazy with it. You got to stay consistent. That's the tough part.
Yeah, that is the tough part. And it's funny you say that because, like, even watching stuff like Hard Knocks and, like, some of the, like, growing up watching a lot of boxers, and, like, some of the stuff I liked the most was the behind-the-scenes training, the behind-the-scenes, like, at home. Like, how dedicated are these people? What is their lifestyle like? Are they funny? Are they serious? And every person, like, we have Mikey Urena, dude. He's so serious. I'm trying to get him in the videos because his character is hilarious and he's awkward on film, which is the best part. Totally. But I'm trying to break him out of his shell. But the content is cool for him just because how serious and dedicated he is. He can't even take a second to like film or say something. He's like, dude, I'm focusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was funny. I actually have a funny story about it because him and I are playing the 1 and the 2 or the 1 on the Dorito side, and then one of the boys, he got shot out, and I'm such a dick, dude. It's so funny. But he got shot early. I'm like, and I went up to him. I'm like, hey, this is perfect because honestly, you're probably gonna learn more just watching me instead of playing. I'm such a douchebag. I don't know how anyone likes me, but that's funny.
Yeah, because you always say things that like you're actually not joking about, but you say it like so funny that it's like, oh yeah, that is funny. Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's that satire, I think is that the type of comedy that it is? Something like that. I don't know. But it's hilarious, dude. Oh, Dalt, dude, you're in the game now. You're stuck playing paintball for the rest of your life. You realize that?
No, I know. And that was true because a little part of me was like on the way out, came back in and out. How dedicated am I? How dedicated is my wife? And how, how much time do I got left in this? And this was definitely a part of me saying like, hey, I want to stay in this.
Totally.
And how do I create something and I use my creative mind and all my experience in paintball, which isn't great and it isn't a great mind, but I have something to tell, at least the joking aspect of it. And I have the right people around me as far as, the team and even my friends, like some of the best, coolest people in paintball and just in life. I think so. So I think it's going to be perfect.
Hell yeah,
Dude,
dude.
it's going to be a major success. You just got to keep making that clickbait. You know what I'm talking about? Like all the YouTube clickbait that everyone wants to eat up. You just keep pumping that out. It's going to be tremendously successful for sure.
Where do you see Dum Dum Paintball in 5 years?
Well, yeah, that's funny that you say that because I know a lot of businesses and successful people will start to tell you, like, start making plans and goals to shoot for, you know. And definitely by the end of this year, I definitely want to have at least 10 videos and start getting people wild and just getting more familiar with the camera and people, like, just planning. It's like funny because this was the first week of filming and I was like, where could this go? Like, are people going to want to participate? Are people going to, and I think as it gets bigger and as these, and like how people are taking it, and if people start to like this stuff, it can only grow. And I'm kind of keeping myself humble, and I know we got something here, but I just really want to see what the people say, and I want to get people's input. So if there's any suggestions of videos you guys want to see or things you want to participate with, just hit me up on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I just want to get some stuff out there and see where the fans are, what everyone's saying and talking about as of now.
I love
Absolutely.
it, dude.
Make sure to tag us in everything so that we can repost for you and boost this thing for you and show as much love as possible. And also, drop your IG handle so that people can tap in with you and send you, some good ideas as well.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Dumb. This guy, Dalton, you're such a dumb. Because you weren't even going to respond with your IG handle right there. I realized that. Tyler literally just asked for you, and you were like, "Yeah, dude. Oh, thanks." No, I don't think you were going to. It sounded like you were going to something else, but I was going to anyway. DUM DUM Paintball. So it's at DUM Paintball. They don't spell dumb the correct way because why would they? They're too dumb. So it's DUM Paintball. And
exactly.
Yeah, that is dude. Everybody, PTG World, please show out, go and give them a follow and stay tuned for some fun content.
Yeah, baby. Hey, and I wanted to put this out there because we're going to SAC next week, and unfortunately, my videographer can't make it. But obviously, I'll be filming and having the camera and doing stuff. So if there's any like low level or people starting out as far as videographers want to go and help with content, come on out or hit me up. We're going to be out at Sacramento playing with the Capital Edge. So I'll probably make a post about it. But it would be great if we could get some more cameras out there and more footage. So yeah, hit me up.
There we go. Yeah, show out. If you're in the NorCal area, let's get some footy for the Dum Dum Paintball movement. Let's get it going.
Yeah, man.
Dalt, we've got some questions from the Discord for you, brother. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. We're going to start out with Quinn from Iconic Paintball. He had a great question. He goes, Dalton, you have developed one of the most multi-dimensional styles of any Dorito player in the history of the sport. Many players seem to settle into one style of play, but you always seem to elevate and adapt on the field. How do you always stay so poised and aware on the field to make good decisions?
Oh, wow. Well, great question. I got to start giving this guy more respect, huh?
Hey, shout out to Quinn one time.
Yeah, shout out. He's doing good stuff, man. But yeah, that is a great question. That's funny because obviously,
just so you know,
layout,
Dalton, he only asked that because I tell him how good you are. It's not he didn't realize it.
He's starting to come along, huh?
He's starting to come along.
Yeah. So yeah, this weekend it's funny. I was watching. We practiced against Aftermath and NYX, and they're I want to say that one of the I don't know where they at as far as the standings are, but they want to be one of the top teams. So I was watching, and I was kind of like watching their Dorito players because I like to get ideas and hints of how to play the game. And I was just critiquing them in my head. Obviously I'm not going to be talking about, but and there's just things that players do that I'm like, man, I totally would never do this. But I started to realize playing this layout that I I do this thing where on the field, there's like three kind of elements of the game. There's obviously when you're up bodies, down bodies are in the middle. But anyways, long story short, is I've kind of developed this thing where it's a risk versus reward aspect of paintball, and it's like, okay, you're down two bodies. What is the risk of just putting one or two guys in and running down to the 50 and, you know, maybe getting 2 or 3 quick kills? Because if you lose that point, then no one's eating your lunch for that, you know? So it's almost like a risk versus reward as you're playing the paintball match, and you're just weighing those options throughout the game. And it's like, it's just, what are you willing to risk? And then, what, you know, so that's one of the things that helps me, I guess.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. So to kind of put that into like my words, Dalton, when I coach my divisional teams, I say, look, the score, the clock is going to tell you the situation. The situation is going to tell you how to play the game, right?
Yeah.
The score, the clock, and I guess you could add the body count. That's going to give you the situation. The situation tells you how to play. So it almost makes these decisions for you. And what you're referring to being down bodies, right, in a point, it's a low percentage chance of you winning that point. So going and trying to make something kind of heroic happen is usually the best chance, because one, if you lose, okay, you were supposed to lose anyway. And you're way less likely these days to win a 2-on-4 unless a team, like if you don't do anything, if you just sit in your spots and you try to cross it up, and the only way you're going to win that is if the other team makes a big mistake. You're not going to win if they don't make a mistake, period. But you can win if you go on the attack. You can win without the other team necessarily making a mistake. You could just make a great move. But if you don't do anything, then they have to make a mistake. And that's just not happening as much anymore, right? Teams are more disciplined. Players are more disciplined. So that situation tells you, got to attack. Guess what? If we're up points and there's little time on the clock and we're up a body, we don't got to make a move. You know what I mean? Like that risk is no longer worth it. The chance of getting shot on a move is no longer worth it. So like these situations, they tell you how to play, and it makes it a lot easier if you do understand situational paintball. And I think you're one of the best at it. Obviously, I mean, it's shown year in and year out. But
yeah, and you really got to tap into knowing like what you're good at, because even Tyler would probably have a different explanation on it, because he's really good in gunfights. Like he's probably more comfortable in a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 situation. Obviously, if you just look at the track record, what makes him so good is the gunfight. So he's wanting these guys to get closer, and he almost reels them in like a fisherman. And then and I know I'm not good at that. So I know I don't want to be the last guy on the field. I'll play those situations, and I love those situations. But I know my advantage is if it's a 2-on-4. What I'm good at is getting sneaky, and I really like that aspect of the game, getting sneaky. I mean, it's really not talked about, but like if you're in a bunker and you're like, there's seconds, like you could just sit there and like kind of just feel it out. Like, wow, they don't even know I'm here. So what are you doing with that? Like, are you just going to pop up and start shooting your gun? Are you going to listen to see like, okay, where are they? What are my teammates saying? What paint? Can I hear lanes? Can I see? What am I looking at? All right. And and it's like this little chess game for like, it's like time almost slows down in those scenarios, because you're like, you could do so much. And if you really take advantage of that, I don't know, that's one of the paintball little gems that you could take, is like, if you're sitting there and you know no one knows you're there, it's like study that and be in that situation, and you're going to have to play those scenarios out in your head or play them out on the field. But there's a lot of advantages there, just sitting there and just kind of soaking it in and just waiting for your time. You know, it's a timing thing.
Absolutely.
Dude, I love that you brought that up. That's such a huge talking point, that so many players you see when you watch them, they have the game right in their hands and they just give it away by doing what you said. They pop out and give themselves away, or they don't dip low and make that sneaky move like they should, and they just give it away when they have the game right in their hand. And we see that, so much when we watch paintball.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Dalton, second part of this question from Quinn is, do you think you're the best Dorito player in the world right now?
Right now, without a doubt, I do. Yes, and it's funny because I've been dealing with this ego thing in the last 3 years. Because when you leave the game, your ego is really, you're like, that competition is like, dude, I could do this way better than these guys, and I'm watching and I came back and I had some struggles and I got hurt and yada yada yada, and I wasn't really proving myself. But anyways, long story short, I simply do think I'm the best. Honestly, I mean, I've been playing on Dynasty, I don't know, 7 years, and some of the best players have came and gone on this team. I mean, you guys, like even Archie, who's a known Dorito player, superstar. It's like, I just feel like, I don't know, maybe I earned it or maybe I'm just grandfathered in. But it's just the track record speaks for itself, because when I'm on this team, they give me that spot. And it's like, I feel like I'm taking it from people because I earned it. Or maybe it's just respect I'm getting from my peers. But like, if you're the one, like Tom Brady, if you're the QB1, it's like, come on. I'm Dorito 1 on the best team in the world. Throughout these years, as people come and go on this team, and every time I'm on the team, I'm the guy. So it's like, I don't know. It just speaks for itself. You're the Dorito 1 on number 1. So I mean, what else is there to say or prove?
Well, we can't put you anywhere else, so it's like,
and
we're stuck with you over there.
and I don't want to play anywhere else because honestly, I'm not good anyweur else.
Dude, that's such a joke. There's times where I'm like, Dalton, will you please play the snake? Maybe like when we're struggling over there, I'm like, can you go over there? Maybe, help fill that hole. Dude, you can play any spot. Yeah, man. And I agree. Yeah. We got Dorito player number 1. What do we call that? It's like RB1. What's Dorito player 1?
Yeah.
Is it just D1? DP1. DP1,
yeah,
baby.
DP1.
DP1. Draft them. Fantasy paintball. DP1
Hey,
right here.
Dalt, you remember at World Cup when you said that you're like, damn, I just got to get out of his way? You remember that?
Yeah.
I was gonna say too. And what about don't make me come over there, Daddy. Don't make me come over there.
It's funny because I tried to confidently say this as best as I could because I knew you two would have something to say, because you guys are damn good in this sport. It's crazy because there is no matter of fact, and I know that. Like, any scenario could be different. Like, I've played with both of you. You played in front of me. I played behind you. You guys are, you've had your days. I've had my days. So there is no matter of fact, to be honest. I could just confidently say I'm the best because why not,
Dude, I love that. Don't you ever stop being confident like that. Don't you ever stop saying, you know what I mean? That's the most important facet of being a dominant sports athlete that you can have. Like, you got to claim that. And then what happens is it creates itself. Like, you're proclaiming that. That's your proclamation. You know what I mean? It's like, that's everything. Yeah.
Yeah. But the difference, Dal, is you've done it over and over and over and over again, way more than I've been the one on the Dorito side, way more than Tyler. Like, that has been your spot for so long. It's kind of like mouse on the snake side. And so I agree. I give that slot to you 100%. I love playing behind you, man. It makes the fucking game so easy, dude. I love playing behind you. I'm like, oh, can I get to play when we won Chicago last year? I felt like I had a pretty subpar event, and we looked good over there. It's because you were just continuously making shit happen. I'm like, all right, there we go. This is fantastic.
Dude, DUM DUM
DP1, it's on
paintball.
my list right here. I've got my scouting report. I've got my draft cheat sheet. So DP1 for all fantasy players. This is Dalton Vanderbyl. Put him on your list.
Dude, DUM DUM's finest. Let's go.
DUM DUM's finest. Yeah, there's a difference, right, Dalton? It's so hard to do consistently. Like, I could go over there and I could have a couple really good points, or I've had a tournament where I do it, and back in the day that was my spot. But just year in and year out, like for that to just be the spot that you absolutely own. And even Archie's not in that conversation, I think, for that reason, because he also plays other spots. Like, that is like your spot. It's just your spot. You've owned that spot, that side of the field. the creation over there, no matter what the bunkers look like over there, no matter how they change it, like you figure it out on that side, every event for your team. And that's a valuable piece to the puzzle, you know?
It's monumental. I do want to talk about your cadence because it's kind of a carefree cadence. Can you kind of talk to us about your play style when you play the Dorito side of the field?
Yeah, me and Marcel, I think, talked about this a lot too. And having different coaches and playing on different teams like Impact Damage, having coaches like Rusty, SK, Dave Baines, like I take little pieces from them. And obviously, as a front player, because it's like you're rolling the dice. So like if you're going to run a far spot, if you're going to run a short spot, if you're going to run wide, deep, all this stuff, you have to take all these little pieces, and you're almost like battling one-on-one with their coach in a sense. So it's good if you are the one making all the decisions, because it's hard for a coach just to be like, go to the Dorito 1, go to the Dorito 2, go to the Dorito 1, but if you're just keeping track of it, like, okay, I ran Dorito 1 twice, you know how you ran. You ran low, or you ran deep, or you ran, So I really like, over the past few years, I developed into my game of whatever the coach says, and the coach tells me sometimes, go here. But honestly, I don't really listen. I'll take I'll take that consideration. Like, he wants me in the Dorito 1, but how I get there is gonna be up to me. I'm gonna shoot from the back center if I want to. I'm gonna go around the snake side in this way if I think that's the best way. It's like I'm gonna get there within like 10 seconds, but how I'm gonna get there is solely up to like what's been going on. How are their laners? Are they shooting right-handed? Is it Tyler? Like, honestly, I could tell, like, he's a tall player, so he's gonna have that low shot down, and so maybe I'll run the deep route.
Because they're going to feel comfortable with that. They're going to want to use their height to their advantage.
Right. Or maybe Tyler's shooting the good deep route, and I already scouted it, and I watched him shoot that guy 3 times. So it's like all this I'm taking into factor. And then when I watch games, obviously that helps the more you watch. And that's kind of only the thing I'm watching, is who's shooting at me and what are their success rates. And then I'm just implementing, okay, I got to start running deep. Or, sometimes we play like the Russians, and like one of their smaller laners that plays at the back center, obviously Malloy, he doesn't have that drop shot. So I'm going to run the inside route every time, So it's like there's so many variables.
That's so true, man. You got to be reading the seams. You got to be reading all the seams out there.
Yeah.
All right, we got a Discord question from Jay Lamb. He's asking, why the number 24, and is it a struggle to find fitting pants for the trunk legs? P.S. I need a jersey for the collection.
Wow, he's on it. 24, it was just, I started playing, growing up playing sports. I was number 4, then I was number 2, and then somehow I just combined them into one, making 24 when I was playing hockey and soccer, and then obviously I loved. It's funny. What was the Josh Gordon? I forget his name. He was a race car driver. I don't know.
Jeff.
But Gordon, he was number 24, and I just thought it looked cool in the car.
Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it, and it just looked cool. I liked your guys' segment about talking about the significance of numbers, and I think it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, it just it, and then that was it. Oh, and then the legs. That's funny because I do have these weird trunk legs, and I'm every so often I have to buy new pants because my thighs they rub together. So I literally just create holes in the bottom of my crotch. It's the weirdest thing. Like every so often, I just have a blowout. I'm like, what is happening?
What is happening?
Dude,
holy
legend.
Moly.
Absolute legend.
And yeah,
hey, Jay Lamb.
I just got restocked for jerseys.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, hit him up. Get dialed in.
Woo! All right, dude. From Kaylin, we have Dalton. How do you want to reply to being called the dumbest dum dum by the dum dum Blake Yarber?
That was funny. I was listening to that. It was almost like teed up for him to say that. But No, it's a compliment, honestly, because no one goes more dumb than me. I mean, it's just simple.
Go dumb, baby. It's
Go
You
just
just gotta
simple.
go dumb. These guys, it's just, yeah.
Dude,
You just gotta go
that's the
dumb.
shirt. That's the shirt.
That's what I love about it, is how smart you actually are, and it's just your like your whole personality is dumb.
No, but I'm not smart. You guys keep saying that.
You are,
and I'm
though,
not
dude.
smart. There's like, it's this weird thing because I read this book once. I mean, I don't read often. It's like about intelligence, and I'm like so lost because he's talking about what is intelligence. Because is it what, like writing? Is it reading? Is it memory? What is it? Because who knows? Is it like I have no idea what intelligence is. Does anyone?
We're all lost, dude.
We're lost.
We're lost. Did you just ask does anybody know what intelligence is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys know what I mean, what is it to you?
We could ask
what do you
Siri.
think?
Here, hold on.
Okay.
Let me
No,
ask
well,
Siri.
there's difference, right? So I think intelligence is the ability to process information. I think knowledge is a totally different thing. I think there's a lot of people that are really good at remembering facts. They're really good at reading a book, really good at reading and going to school and studying things and remembering facts. To me, that's not quite intelligence. Intelligence is, again, like IQ. How do you process information? How are you able to decipher, what's good and bad information, to have perspective? I think that it also goes kind of hand in hand with wisdom. But to me, I think it's a very recognizable thing. And yeah, Dalton, sorry to break it to you, buddy, but you're incredibly intelligent. Maybe not super knowledgeable, I don't know, but definitely very intelligent. You have great emotional intelligence, which is a huge sign of somebody with a high IQ, right? Like you're very aware. So sorry to all, hopefully that doesn't ruin the whole dumb idea. But you definitely got it going on there, buddy.
The key is the application. It says the intelligence definition is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge. So it's the application of the knowledge.
Yep, that's how
skills.
you process it.
Yeah.
That's cool. And on a serious note, I mean, like growing up and like obviously people make fun of people and call people dumb or stupid. And growing up, like I wasn't the most, I guess you could say, book smart, reading and writing and that as a young kid, that is a struggle. I know there's people out there struggling with that now as teenagers are growing up and you don't know all these crazy answers and you hate school and you think life is all about, school and memorizing these history dates. And it's like, and I was never good at that. And when you're a kid and you think that's what life is about, and intelligence is that form of intelligence. And when you learn, like you just said, emotional intelligence and reading people, and then that opens your mind to a whole nother thing, because then your confidence is, you could start becoming more confident as a young man and a man in general, because, you're going to seek other adventures. I mean, even going to college was kind of like a crazy thing to me, just because, I mean, I can't memorize all this stuff, how am I supposed to do this? What am I going to grow into? Who am I going to be when I'm older if I don't have this like book smart memory? So that is a struggle for me, if I'm being honest. And
me too.
But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because, there's other signs and other, you could become a dum-dum, you could be a paintball player, you could be whatever you want, and that's true. And that's the cool thing about paintball. And that's like, at the end of the day, like we've done this stupid game forever. And the key is, I mean, I'm just learning this is how you play the game. And it's been so long, like, until I could actually learn this. Like, who's taught me? How many times have people said it's like not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. And that thing is so dumb to me, because for me, it's all about winning. But now at the end, it's like, you're right. It is how you play the game. Are you a good teammate? Are you passing the ball? Because anyone could just take the ball and dunk it 100 times. If you're good enough. But is that going to make you a dominant person in life? Is that going to make you successful in a relationship or a father? Probably not. That attitude, probably not.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, preach. That was fire.
Yeah, preach. That's a segment right there. I got it time stamped at right just below the 2-hour mark. Shout out to young Stevie and Chris Tucker. Let's get that stamped in the books, baby. That's going live on the IG.
Hell yeah.
Man, Dalt, we love you, brother.
Dude, the big one is having fun, right, Dalt? You got to have fun with the process, man.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, dude.
All right. My last question over here is Osborne for this. Dalton, if you could change anything about the webcast, would one of the first things, I love when people ask questions that lead to like you answering what they wanted. You know, it's like, if you could change anything about the webcast, that should be the question. But then he follows it with, would one of the first things be to add a camera to the Dorito side?
Oh, 100%. And that's like what we talked about earlier. Is how do we capture paintball to get to the matches? And I think what definitely is missing, and it was damn near impossible to capture unless you have cameras and good cameras on everyone's gun. But it's like, what are these people shooting at, you know? So it's like capturing, you know, behind players and this mic'd up stuff is great. I think like miking up too, like if you can mic up, remember like Tyler and I were talking about the tournament World Cup when we were playing all together on that side, like the conversations over there were just crazy, man. I mean, talk about intelligence. It's like on the fly, you're like, hey, do this, do that, go here. If this happens, we got to do this. It's like, dude, the conversations is where the gems are. Like that's the most fun, entertaining part.
Totally.
So the conversations, the cameras, like over the shoulder views of what people are shooting at is gonna, you know, that's what's gonna set us off, I think, for sure.
Dude, we had a long point like that against NYX this weekend, and it's like those are the most fun points for me to win, you know? When we really get into like the deep waters with a team, it's a 4-on-4. You're kind of at a stalemate. There's no move to be made because all the zones are locked and like no one has slipped through a gap, right? So like everyone's kind of in control, and it's broken down through communication and teamwork. And you know, I think it was the longest point of the weekend. It was like a 4.5 minute point. But the communication was just so crisp. I think Johnny captured that, right?
I got to get with him, but yes, for sure. Because I remember getting off and him being right there and being like, dang, that was like 4-minute point. And those conversations are crazy. You're asking each other, you're like, do they know you're in there? Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Do they know which way you're looking? Yeah. Is there someone like, are they gun battling you? Or are they just kind of chilling? What are they doing?
Is he shooting with his left hand?
Yeah.
What did he have for breakfast?
Yeah.
How dumb is he?
Yeah. Who's the dumb? Yeah.
Who's the dumbest
like, just
here?
wait. It's Blake. He's gonna make a mistake.
I love it, dude. Yeah, those are the best, man.
Dude, phenomenal, man. We cannot wait for Dum Dum Paintball to drop. Dalt, you're a damn legend, obviously, and we cherish every moment we can have you on PTG, dude. I know you're busy. I think you're heading to work. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm on en route. I'm in Mad Max, like Marcelo said. I'm just waiting to the service cut.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dalton was like, yeah, no problem. I got like a 2-hour car ride to work. I can call in. I'm like, yeah, but you already live like in the middle of Arizona. I think a 2 hour, no, probably not gonna have service for this one. Oh man. So Dalton, dude, we're gonna let you rock and roll, man. Drive safe. I'm so excited to see you again this weekend. Really stoked about Dum Dum Paintball. I'm a huge fan. I'm also, for all the listeners, I'm also a secret Dum Dum. I've been trying to work my way into the squad. We had a lot of success Saturday. Just gonna say we had a lot of success. So
way better than the other line.
Way better, dude. They were just fighting with each other the whole time, yelling at each other. And then Skinny Kevin, dude, we got Skinny Kevin with the funniest. We got to share the joke. So at the end of Saturday, we're having like a, you know, it's always a kind of a joke on Dynasty, the whole like D's nuts joke, you know? And so I was like, you know, everybody was in the pit, and I was like, hey, Skinny Kevin. And everyone's like, it's fantasy football season right now. So everybody's drafting, and Kevin had to leave practice early so that he could make it to his fantasy draft Saturday night. And I was like, Kevin, you going to draft CD? And he's like, who? CD who? And I was like, CD. And he goes, oh, CD Lamb? No fucking way. And I go, no, CD's nuts. And, and everybody just started dying laughing. The team erupted, but Kevin was kind of pissed. He was like, not happy about it that he got so bad. He was like kind of frustrated, whatever. So we all laugh and we kind of move on. He's like kind of pissed and bitter. And then he was fine. But then the next day he took me off the Dum Dum squad and put me back with the Smarty Tardies. And dude, it's just, man.
Struggle
bus. Put me back with the Dum Dums. The Smarty Tardies have too many ideas, too many chefs in the kitchen. Just everybody has everything has to be perfect. Dum Dums just let it rip, dude. He put together a nice little plan and it works and it's great, dude. It's fantastic.
I have one more funny story from practice before. Tyler, you'll like this. So the second day, Marcel, like he was saying, he left the team. He left our squad, so I really had to pick it up, because too many Dum Dums is not the move. But anyways, there was a point where I shot literally all 5 guys, and SK was just told me, he was like, we know you're for sure not going to be player of the day. And then for some reason I was like, all right, let's, screw this. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So I go out there and shoot all 5 guys, Tyler. And as they're walking off, because we're sharing a pit and the NYX guys are coming up. So I'm like, hey, just curious, who shot you? To the first player on their team. He's like, you did. You freaking bounce shot right. Boom, you shot me. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, second player. Hey, who shot you? He's like, you shot me. You shot me right in the face. Oh, that's crazy. SK, third player. Who shot you? Yeah, you shot me in the back. You got to the Dorito. Oh, that's crazy. That's 3. Fourth player, Go all the way down to the 5th player. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. SK, that's crazy. I shot 5 guys. That's wild. I was just being a sarcastic asshole. This is the moment where I'm kind of realizing, like, dang, I don't know what's wrong with me. I got to figure it out. But I think the sarcasm, I don't know, people like, or maybe, I don't know. Because I'm like, I don't know if I should keep going with this character. The bit is going too long.
The bit is good. Was that the moment you realized you're the best Dorito player in the world?
Yeah, that was another moment there. Yeah.
That was it.
We got to make sure
only practice.
Didn't Kevin come over though and say like, did you shoot anybody that point? I thought he was not joking though and was like genuinely asking like, did you even shoot anybody? He was like, Skinny, were you watching? Were you even watching?
Yeah, he wasn't even watching. So that's also why we got to have.
Also, be on the lookout because you got Dum Dum merch that's going to be coming soon. So when he drops that, everybody show out, get the merch, get the shirts, show out for Dalt and everything that they have going with Dum Dum Paintball. Is it just you, or is there multiple people that are involved with this? Is it a company? What do we got going on?
No, I mean, we're all involved. We're all creating the content. To be honest, it's pretty much all of Dynasty, if I'm being honest. Half of the fun is just the Dum Dums versus the other guys, the Smarties. So it's pretty much all of Dynasty. I mean, I'm kind of quarterbacking a lot of it and like coming up with some of these ideas. And so definitely the merch and some of these drops we're going to be having is going to help, because production and as we know, cameras and film and all this costs money. So,
bro, we already had a camera break this weekend. You guys got to buy a new screen. It's rough out there.
Oh man,
it costs money, and we're not trying to be rich here, but we're trying to get the production up and more cameras, and hopefully we can get the GoPros and all this stuff, and the mics, and so the more stuff we have, the better. So,
dude, well, keep us posted. We'll show out. We got your back. And be safe on the road to victory out there. I know you're going to work, so be safe at work. And we'll see you soon, man. We got Chicago coming up here very shortly.
All right, boys. Thank you. Thanks for promoting. Thanks for always. Love you guys.
Dude, always, brother.
Love you, dog.
Love you.
All right, brother.
See you this weekend, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Later, dude.
Later, dude.
There we go.
Oh, man, dude. Dalton. He's the best. He really is.
Absolutely.
I heard you guys went out and had a golf round and he kicked some ass.
He's pretty good at golf.
He's fucking good at golf, dude. Dalton's just like, he's just good at shit. He's just good at shit.
Yeah, I went with me, him, and Rusty, and we just went and putzed around at the course and had some fun.
Yeah.
It's always good to, get out and see the squad and see everybody. And we tried getting Victor to go out there, but I think he was busy. I think it might have been his daughter's birthday, so happy birthday to her. and it's always fun anytime you can get out on the course and play some golf.
Yeah, for sure, dude. I love some golf. I haven't played in a while. I really need to get back out there and just hit the ball, get on the course, have some fun. We've been busy, dude. Damn, we've been busy. But
Yes, sir.
Yeah, got to get some golf in. I've been playing a lot of basketball. It's kind of taking place at golf lately. It's good exercise. I missed it, and I've been feeling good lately, so I'm able to go play ball again.
B-ball is so much fun. Get out there and
Yeah,
shoot
man.
the hoop. Yeah.
100%. Did I tell you I beat Damien in one-on-one?
I saw that. I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry, Dame Dollar.
And he
Ain't no
said,
baller.
he said in the video, he's like, look who I lost to.
You know I had to put on the whole fit.
Yeah. Yeah, the headband, the whole deal.
Uh-huh.
Hey, before we go, I do want to do another huge shout out for the drop. You have your signature series gun that just came out. And then I'm not sure if everybody saw, I dropped my new design, which is pretty dope. Got the tiger stripes running. So if you get a chance, support Marcelo, support the movement, support Dalton, support paintball, everything
Support
that everybody
Ty,
has going
support
on.
Ty with that whip.
Yeah.
Hey, also, we did talk about BKI. We're going to have this full breakdown again released tomorrow. And if you guys head over to bkipaintball.com, sign up, use code PLAYTHEGAME. You can sign up there and get access to all the cool stuff that we're doing and get a lot of great insight to the Chicago layout. We are also going to be releasing a members-only playbook to where each one of the professors input a play, and these are very detailed plays, where to go, why you're going to that spot, what the intention of the whole overall play is, and each of the roles and all of their jobs. So very detailed and some high-level stuff. So
major news
Yes.
as well. If you're listening to this today, Wednesday, August 31st, we are having a GOAT meeting tonight. And if you want to sign up, you can go to ptgpaintball.com, click the Discord, become a GOAT, and join us for the exclusive GOAT meeting. We party every month with all the GOATs for these GOAT meetings, and they're a ton of fun. So if you want to join us, it is tonight, the day that that this episode drops. Join us for the GOAT meeting and have some fun with us in there.
Hell yeah. Awesome, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Great show.
Yes, sir. That was a good one. That was fun, man. It's always good tapping in with Mike and Dalton.
Yeah, 100%, dude. All right, T. Well, we'll see you. We'll see everybody in the GOAT meeting tomorrow night. If you guys aren't GOATs, like Ty said, head over, get signed up. You get tons of cool perks, awesome stuff, tons of giveaways,
exclusive
we have all sorts
merch,
of Mesa stuff that's going in there, exclusive merch. We got great stuff going on.
All the good stuff.
Join us, guys. Helps this whole show get a little bit better, one show at a time. One
Yes,
GOAT
sir.
at a time. That's the
One
way to
GOAT
say
at
it.
a
One
time.
GOAT at a time, baby. All right. Hell yeah.
All right, we'll
everybody
see
out
y'all
there.
soon.
Well, absolutely. Peace.
Peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and supporting. As always, we really hope you enjoyed the content. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you do, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the Patreon link, and sign up. Become a supporter of the show. If you do, you get access to the Discord. You get access to tons of awesome prizes. We do amazing giveaways every single month in the Discord, in the private GOAT meeting that nobody sees. Nobody gets to join unless you're a GOAT. Got to be a GOAT, and you get access to this exclusive once-a-month meeting with Tyler and myself. Get to ask whatever questions you want, hang out, be part of the show, part of the community, and in the Discord, we're always answering questions. We're in there, rocking and rolling, having a good time, helping you guys prepare for events, learn about paintball, talk about really whatever the heck you guys want to talk about. So, again, ptgpaintball.com, click the Patreon link, become a supporter at any level, get access to the Discord, but I recommend becoming a GOAT. You get access to the once-a-month exclusive shows with all the amazing giveaways and the fun stuff. All right, everybody. As always, we'll see you very soon. Peace.